Well, boom, boom, bam, we're live.
Hey,
What is up, everybody?
Good evening.
Of course, as you see, we got Dustin Team Snag Whiskers here next to me. And of course, down below us, we have the man, the professor, Mr.
uh,
Epic Catfish. Uh, Tim, it was awesome, awesome. You know, one of the bright points of the year is getting to spend some time with you.
and
And, you know, we were just kind of
I
talking
feel the same,
backstage.
Stan. I feel the same.
Well, thank you, thank you. You know, we were kind of just getting to talking backstage a little bit before we got going. You know, about how blessed I felt that over the past. Oh my, Tim, you realize it's been like a couple years already?
Oh yeah, and you can see it in my face. I just went and looked at a live the other day, and I'm like, holy moly, I've aged in a couple of years. Kind of rough.
But you know, I we were just talking about backstage how blessed I've been to be, you know, one-on-one time with you, and we've you know, we've wanted to talk about catfish at whatever time of the night, don't matter. Boom, we were talking catfish. So
Yeah.
that I appreciate that. Thank you, Tim.
And you know what? The appreciation doesn't just go one way, Stan. I said when you first came on the scene on YouTube, and you were from upstate New York, and I listened to you talk, and I knew that you had a wherewithal right there for big fish. And it didn't matter if it was big
Shucks.
bass and big bluegill and giant pike and all this stuff. And you were talking to me about like literally swimming with the fish, and like taking one of those little rods
Yeah.
and like seeing what they were. You're a kindred spirit. And before I get all flowery on Stan, I would have to say that Dustin, this is the first time I like officially met Dustin in any sort of like social / fishing way. I was completely impressed with not only his personality, but his behavior and his ability to understand and be excited about fishing stuff. You know, in I just can't say enough about people that are that compassionate about fishing to talk about things that are like that almost nobody talks about. So I mean, I'm like a kid in a candy store when I go to CatCon, and literally I met hundreds of people. Although I didn't have a whole lot of time for everybody, I met people again that I met at previous CatCons. That it was beautiful to see those people, but also I had questions from people that were some of the most intelligent questions you would. I never expected to even hear questions that great.
Well, and Tim, a lot of that we owe that to you. You spent a lot of times on all the shows, but we got a boom, boom, bam from Dan Goobertime Guide Service with the $4.99 saying two stands and friends. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, thank you.
You know what? Dan is one of those. Dan's actually, I remember spending time last year with Dan.
Yep.
And Dan is, he's kind of cerebral and kind of dry. Okay. When he does his videos, he's great at it. But what nobody realizes is in Dan, back here in the brain of what I mean, Dan is thinking all the time, and he's always processing his information that he gets, and he gets better every time. I have no doubt. I mean, I really thoroughly enjoy talking with Dan.
Y'all are gonna put me in tears. We got Bugman, boom, boom, bam, Bugman with a new member, and Freddie.
Bugman, he's awesome.
So there's Bugman, new member to Two Stands Fish Family. Thank you, Bugman. I can't thank you enough for what you do for us. And Freddie's Outdoor Adventures saying, "Oh yeah, let's go. Oh my, it's epic too."
Oh, yeah, there's Freddie. And let's talk about, because I think we were going to talk about CatCon a little bit.
Oh, hey, we're going to talk about, you know, of course we're all excited about CatCon still.
Well,
the three of us were there, and
yeah, I rolled up onto Freddie's booth, which was right next to the YouTube stuff, and I looked at these like kid rods, like like stuff that I mean, one was only like 6'5" or whatever. The other one was so short, I thought maybe I'd use it for like ice fishing. And I rolled up on it and I said, I picked it up. I was like, holy moly, what is going on here? This is not, it was absolutely not what I expected. Not at all. So I picked up the longer rod, of course, because, you know, I don't ice fish that much anymore. And so I'm holding this like 7-foot rod that looks like a channel cat rod that might, if you was just look at it, I catch channel cats that I would think this rod would have trouble with, right? And so Freddie's all pretty proud of him. And I pick it up and I'm like, holy, what is going on here? Because literally, I just said, this rod is nothing like it looks. And by the time I got to like feeling it, flexing it, and all this stuff, I'm like, you know what, Freddie? I think I can catch 100-pound fish on this. Well, and he's like, oh yeah, that's what it's for. It's for like downright. It's for like kayak. It's for like whatever. And
hold your thought right there, Tim. Hold your thought right there. I've got to shout out Creole Catfish with another boom boom bam with a 1999 Angel Honeycutt. How you doing? Great to see you. And Ventures Valley and Clint were saying they were there. And Dan with the boom boom boom. Did I do that right? With another 1999.
Man,
y'all are too much. Thank you.
Literally, people. I have rarely been to a place that has that many great people all amassed in one spot. I'm like, holy moly.
Well,
you got Big Wrench.
Big Wrench, come on. Boom Boom Bam was Big Wrench Catfish, and the most fun I have ever had meeting the mad scientists, meeting Stan and Dustin at the door at day one. Yeah, Big Wrench, thank you. You were, you know, you and Uncle Jeep out there all weekend long were just,
oh yeah,
you know, outstanding. Just coming around and talking with everybody and hanging out with everybody. It was.
Wow.
You gotta stop it.
Fellas, here I am setting up this thing, this menagerie of stuff that I mean, I got rock walls, I got a 16-foot ladder, I'm trying with the rod holders up on top, I'm almost hitting the ceiling, and Big Wrench is like helping me. And there's Becca. I mean, jeepers.
Hey, Becca.
Can you get any better than this? You just can't.
And Becca's bringing up a good point. We've got a lot of people in our family out there right now. Thank you, everybody. Y'all, you have no idea how much that all means to me. Thank you, everybody out there. Thank you. But we've got, our friends and family down there in Kentucky, the Kentucky area. They've got some huge winds going through there. There's been some hurricanes or
tornadoes.
Not hurricanes, tornadoes. Thank you. So, if you believe in prayer, send some prayers out there. Believe in positive thoughts. Whatever you can. They are needing all that right now. But Becca, thank you so much. Becca's been with us since pretty much day one also. So I can't tell you how much that all means.
And they keep on coming.
You gotta stop.
So Stan and Dustin, I don't even know how to phrase this, but I have been blessed with a lot.
Barbecue Mike, great to see you. Reeling by Faith, thank you. I saw Tim was part of the maintenance.
That's right. That's about what it looked like. But I would
just
Books
like and to hammock.
Say this. Well,
thank you.
I can't even say anything.
I want to play too. Tony Harrison. Thank you, Tony. Tony, two Stan's Fishing family member, always on stand day. Thank you.
Yeah, I know.
You know
All right,
me,
Tim, I
I'm
think
the
it's your turn.
emotion. I'm the emotions on the sleeve kind of guy. Hey, that's just me. I'm big enough to admit it.
Well,
That's right. Thank you very much.
and I keep trying to put this out there because I believe in saying stuff when you can. Because if you don't say it, it might be too late. But honestly, I have in my life, and I've been lucky in life, I've known a lot of great people, but the assemblage of great people with good hearts and just basic awesome people. I have never seen an assemblage like that. And I've been going. I think this is my third year at CatCon, and it just keeps getting better. I mean, it's just one of those things. I'm amazed. I'm honored. I'm thrilled. I can't even say enough. There isn't words to say it. I mean, how it is, and with Dustin, I didn't know who Dustin. I mean, I knew that Dustin was on there with you, but I didn't know how great of an individual he really was.
Well, that means a lot coming from you, Tim. I appreciate that.
Fish and Fever smashes. I mean, just look at it. Look, we had to make Stan sign off, and yeah.
Let's give him a moment. We can take it from here.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll honestly say, Tim, this was my first experience at CatCon. I love the entire CatCon experience, but probably what's going to stay with me the longest is after CatCon, the nights we hung out at the hotel.
Yes,
and
sir.
just sat there and talked. You guys were gracious enough to come on Sean and our show that Thursday night, and then, I mean, I don't think we went to bed before midnight any one of those nights.
No, because we're savages, dude. I mean, and there's different savagery. And that's something that's kind of neat and unique about CatCon. You've got those guys that are like full on it, but they have a bedtime. Then you got me and Sean; they're like all crazy, whatever, and you and whoever else. We're gonna stay up, and yeah, I can't convey how much, because I've been at this in a long time. I mean, a long time, and finally, the catfish community, and I'm not saying I'm any better than anybody else, but I wish this 30 years ago. And 30 years ago, it was full of squabbling and problems and everybody trying to outdo everybody else. The thing about it is, it's really become one of those things which I could be proud of. I could say that no matter if you got in it yesterday or have been in it 30 years, that people have really, really come together. Now, of course, you always have drama, blah, 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 and people always be at odds, but this is nothing like it was 30 years ago. Nothing. I mean, it was just it was like WWF 30 years ago. And I'm so glad to see it the way it is, because people are actually literally helping each other. And they don't have any like me or Sean or Stan or you, or there's a lot of people putting great information out there that literally want to see people do better. Not that, I don't care if I catch a 150 pounder tomorrow, which I'm not even fishing tomorrow, but what I'm saying is, if I caught a 150 pounder, I would not be like, hey, you got to be more like Epic Catfish because I'm awesome. I'd be like, okay, I caught a 150 pounder after 30 years of chasing these fish, and this is what might help you. That to me is worth everything. It's not look at me, or I'm all the greatest or whatever. And you know what I know about all of you? Y'all be the same way.
Well, in saying that, Sean and I, the Sean that I fish with,
he's got a Sean too, Tim.
Yeah. and I would like to talk about Sean here in a minute, because I don't even think he's even watching this. But yeah, I've got some big accolades for Sean and your Sean. But anyway, let's hear about your Sean.
One second, right before that, I saw Freddie put up there, out in the description. Thank you, Smoke. I can't thank you enough. Smoke, he's been on Stand Day a bunch of times out there. catching some fish. Keith Doc, $2. Thank you. Thank you. Tony Harrison. But I'm trying to go back up and find it. Uncle Jeep, thank you. Yes, I'm speechless. Yeah, that it doesn't happen very often.
That's saying a
lot.
But
you know, it's this stuff is important to me.
You can tell.
And but anyways, Freddie, I thought Freddie put up there about CatCon tickets next year, February 23rd and 24th, Louisville, Kentucky. It's going to be even bigger and better next year. This year, I was blessed to, I have taken over the catfish cook-off part of the conference, and we've already got 4 people lined up in the cook-off already for next year. It's going to be an event. So if you're into cooking catfish, you want to get part of that. We're going to have more contestants than we ever had. It's going to be one of the biggest ones out there. There's going to be more people. There's going to be more vendors. The crappie section is going to double. And if you want to get your tickets already, code 2stands. I've already got code 2stands.
Wow.
You can save 10% on your tickets out there when you go to buy the tickets. Just saying.
So there was 2 like full-on suits at CatCon, and one, which you all have seen, Palmetto Katz's awesome freaking like Americana suit. It was great. And then Stan 2's suit. Matter of fact, I was busy and Stan walked by me. He said, "Are you coming over the cook-off? Because at the very least, you got to see this suit." And that thing was something to behold, no doubt. Well, anyway, Stan, we got off track because Dustin was going to talk about his Sean, and I'd like to hear it because I don't know a whole lot about it.
Well, and Freddie will get back to the Freddie rods too, please.
We will. Go ahead, Dustin. Remind me.
No, what I was going to say was, you know, Sean and I have been doing this for, I think, 1.5 years now, maybe close to 2 years. And, you know, we got a lot of help along the way. You know, Stan 2 and Stan 3 have been huge in what we've been able to do in the YouTube community. They've helped us out. You know, Jody's helped us out immensely. I've loved Sean and I, you know, when we talk about, you know, you, Epic, we're always in awe about the knowledge that you have and everything, the facts that you have to back up everything you say. And so I feel like we've come to a point in, you know, in what we've done where I think it's time, you know, we're on the way of taking our next step to be able to do that for the next person. So that's where I feel we're kind of transitioning into, and I'll say after CatCon, I feel like, and I've said this a number of times, I feel like we have been accepted into the community, into the family, for what we do, and you know that's you know,
pleasure was mine, Jesse.
You know, that's because of, you know, everybody that's helped us along the way, and we're looking forward to do everything we can to help anybody else, you know, that comes in after us, and that's I think that's what it's all about.
Well, it's all about paying it forward, brother.
Absolutely,
it is, and I'm extremely happy to have you in the catfish community in whatever capacity you're in it, because all I know is after meeting you, and I'm not a bad judge of character. You have high character, my friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
That's good. And so did Stan. See, and when Stan had like 9 subscribers, I'm exaggerating here. He had like
37. I had 22 subscribers.
Okay, 22 subscribers. You know, I popped up on Stan's live, and Stan's like, "What?" I'm like, "Don't do that, Stan." I said, "I'm just up here because I saw Stan's stuff, and I realized that Stan has a gift. He has a gift for conveying information. He had a gift, even though he was new to the catfishing thing. He understood fishing, and I was pretty proud that you know, I was at a hotel because I was you know, 6 hours from home in a hotel. It's just boring as whatever. So I'm like, all right, I'll go on Stan's show. But Stan impressed me enough with his down to earth, questioning and knowledge that I knew, and he told me the story is how he was new to the James River and all this stuff. I said, Stan, with your attitude and with your, sucking up knowledge and your understanding of behavior of fish and your thirst for knowledge, you're going to be catching 50s and 60s before you know it. And then you're going to progress to 60s, 70s, and then you're going to even quit even weighing fish. And I think my predictions, even though I'm no Nostradamus, but I do believe that I think that's coming true at this point, at which, in the beginning, it was like, oh, this is a 22.19 blue. I said, well, you're gonna be like, yeah, this is a good 20-pound class. This is a good 30-pound class. This is a good 40. And it's all the progression. And I'm not saying anybody that weighs fish is, yeah, they might be a little on the spectrum, just like, just like my sons. They'd be like, oh, we got to weigh it. I'm like, no, I already know. I've already weighed those fish. And I still have people in my comments, what? You didn't weigh those fish? I'm like, no, I know what a 40 is. I know what a 50 is. I know what a 60. And you know what? If it weighs 68 point whatever, I'm like, it's a mid-high 60s. And then Sean and I, my Sean and I, we like kind of tone ourselves down. We might be overexcited about a fish. We're like, oh, that might even be a 90. Well, it's a low 80s. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Who cares? Who cares? It's the excitement of it. It's the journey. It's
boom, boom, bam.
The heart. I remember the night Mr. Stan heard us talking in his dream, or woke up and heard voices.
My very first night, my very first live, and I kind of, the first live that we were on, my wife and I did Chad's couples challenge. We did that, and then Ace Catfish, and he'd wanted to go live, and he wanted somebody to do a show with him. And Ace is, for those that have wondered what happened to Ace Catfish, and he had passed recently this year. So big shout out to Ace. But something had happened, and he never let me know, so I went live. I had no idea. I had no idea what I was doing, but we went live, and we ended up talking I talked for about 8 hours, and then my phone died, so I thought my show was over. So I kind of started doing some other stuff. I had Becca and Mike T were up there with me, and little did I know that when your phone dies, if you've got people up on StreamYard with you, your show keeps going. So about an hour or 2 hours later, I get upstairs and I'm like, wow, that was great. My first real live talk show. And I'm checking it, and it says still live. I'm like, what's going on with this? Well, boom, they were still talking.
Yeah.
The bad part though, Tim and Dustin, the bad part is there was more people out in chat than when I left. So I don't know
they were waiting for you, Stan. They were waiting when you come back.
And there's Laura the Explorer. She's been out there since day one. Laura, thank you.
Laura's awesome.
Keep doing what you're doing. Laura's awesome. Danny Stone. That's right, Danny. And hey, there's only one person that can quiet down Danny and I, and it's Epic Catfish. That is for sure. Remember that old, what was it, American Express? When was it American Express or E.F. Hutton? What one was it? When they talk, E.F. Hutton, people listen, and that's pretty much how Danny and I are. Wayne, boom, boom, bam, Wayne with the $10. Thank you. I'm just going past all the comments. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Talking about my Sean. All right, we'll talk about my Sean here for a little bit, because he's not here, and I can say whatever I want. So, y'all know him a little bit, right? Well, I happen to know that he is he's a great person, like all y'all. I mean, he's just down to earth as anybody could ever get. And the one thing that you know about Sean is you always, at least I do, you always know what he's going to do. You could set your watch by it. But the great thing about Sean is you never know what he's going to say. And that is it. I just put up a video on TikTok where he was talking like, who's that 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 MC guy that does all the like National Geographic stuff?
Tony Harrison. No,
Well,
no.
no,
That's just for
Wrong
Stan.
guy.
That's just for Stan Day. Tony Harrison is
who
the
is it?
reporter on the scene with the microphone on Stan Day. I'm sorry.
He's like the English dude that, oh, he does all that. I can't do any of that stuff. If I was half as talented as Sean, I mean, Sean can do impressions. I mean, he could talk like Conan and then switch over to whoever or what.
Is that so, Tim? Mm-hmm.
Oh, and he can do that Sling Blade. Oh my, he's like spot on in Sling Blade. And since he was like 10 years old, he's always been like that. And just a fantastic kid. And he's a savage like me, and he could, he never gets tired. He never gets disgusted. He never does whatever. He's like, what do you want to do next, Epic? I said, well, get ready for what we got to do next, because we might die. He's like, I'm in. He's the guy that you can just call up and you can say, hey, Sean, I'm thinking about doing something either great or like the dumbest thing I've ever done before. He's like, well, just let me know when you're going to do it, because we're in it. I mean, when you got a fishing partner like that, I'm still pinching myself on that, because I've taken a lot of people fishing, but Sean's the man. I'm telling you. And y'all love him, and y'all know him, and you should. And really, he's got his own channel, right, on YouTube and TikTok, but he does absolutely nothing with it, because
No, he posts some amazing. My wife loves his channel. He posts some amazing bass
Sean's
footage.
a freaking rock star. I'm telling you.
He posts him. He is a bass rock star. He should join the tour. My wife loves his channel.
He's a catfish rock star. He's a bass rock. Matter of fact, he's a rock star as a person in general. And you see guys on YouTube that have like a buddy or a partner or whatever. I can't believe how these guys, they like leave them off camera.
Thank you, Evan.
And they don't appreciate them very well. And some of those guys even like treat them like garbage. I'm like, are you kidding me? Those guys that are helping you do what you do, they should be like honored. And here it is. I honor Catfish Heroes because he's the man.
Well, cheers.
And he may never even see this, but I'll still tell him. I'll tell him tomorrow and every day. You're the man. And then he is so I don't even know how to say it. He's just so humble.
Well, if somebody could post, as a matter of fact, Epic, since we brought up Sean, if somebody could post Catfish Heroes, if somebody could post Catfish Heroes link, I'm sure we could get him a few people out there that have not hook set him before.
Oh yeah. I mean, holy everybody should follow Sean, even though he doesn't work. I mean, he doesn't try to put out awesome videos. He's a fisherman. He just does it. He's like, literally, Sean fishes more than I do at this point.
Boom, boom, bam.
To Sean.
To Sean. There you go. One more time.
So I should explain something here. So Sean is a big part of my channel, right? And so anytime when we go live, and like Creel would like donate, or Becca does, or all of our great people donate, I put that in one account, and I have a credit card that's associated with that. And the only thing that comes out of that is when Sean and I go fishing. Not when if I go fishing, it doesn't. If Sean and I go fishing, that's what pays for gas. That's what pays for this. That's what pays for that. And because he's such a huge part of my whole channel, he's the only reason why I even have a YouTube channel. I'd literally still be dark right now. I'd literally just be fishing for myself.
Well,
because I went dark for 20 years, and he's like, dude,
and
you gotta show people this.
and Tim, we've kind of talked about that before. You and I are blessed to have handlers.
Yeah. Oh, Christ, yes.
I don't go fishing without a handler
Yeah.
or to CatCon. We got to have our handlers out there. And
Sean watches out for me because he knows my psycho brain. Because I'm the mad scientist, and I'm always I'll forget my wallet somewhere, or I'll do something stupid because I'm constantly in it. And he's like, oh yeah, he goes, I know when your wheels are turning, and you're gonna forget something, or that I don't know. I mean, I'm not helpless, but Sean makes things great. And he's a mechanic, which I'm not. I'm a wood guy. So if the hub, 4 miles, 4 hours from home starts on fire and flies down the interstate, he's got me covered. I mean,
well, Abin, I'm truly blessed. Like if I'm not with Stand 3, I'm with Dan. If I'm not with Dan, I'm with Dustin. I've just had these. God has blessed me with putting people in my life, and
handlers are people that watch out for you because they're great people and they contribute where they can, and they kind of anytime you have somebody that is so focused on one thing that, and they appreciate it, they're like, okay, I'll take care of everything else. I mean, literally, that's what a handler is. Well, or at least that's how Sean.
well, it's like it was a few weeks ago, and I was able to do something that 2 years ago. I don't know if I jumped down in the boat or climbed up into something that 2 years ago I never would have been able to do. And Dan just kind of gave me a high five kind of thing, and that was like, that's what we're calling a handler. It's just one of those people that are, it's your buddy, your friend, your one that's watching out for you because, I can't always watch out for myself. So
that's that's absolute fact. I mean, holy moly. And some people are good at everything, like a little bit good at everything. And then there's some of us that are really good at some things, but absolutely terrible at others. And so it just so happens that Sean and I work out really good because I'm terrible at working on machinery. I'm terrible at whatever, but I'm really good at other things. So we just complement each other really well. There was Joe Ziegler. Look, he's always in my.
Oh, Joe Z is awesome.
What's going on, Josie?
It's just fantastic.
Yeah, to that point too. Like Sean and I were talking about the other day, how I feel like we mesh so well together when it comes to our channel. Like I enjoy talking, if you hadn't noticed. So I do all the live streams. So when I come up in other people's lives, I do all of our I talk mostly in our live streams. Sean is in the background fishing and bait and stuff like that, but he handles all of our videos and shorts and stuff. And it's just it's amazing how well because we're both doing what we enjoy.
Yeah. So on our live shows, I'm the catfish psycho, of course. I enjoy talking, of course. But if the fishing's good and I can kind of relax or whatever, I'll talk some. But other than that, I'm like
focused.
Jedi focused on stuff.
Yep.
So I'm I'm constantly doing the Rubik's Cube, and Sean on the live shows lets me rest. Lets me do my thing because he'll come up and he'll talk and he'll joke and whatever. But my ultimate goal is to literally this year, I want to put Sean on 2 because he had a shot last year. 2 fish over 100 pounds. This next year. Now, I rarely set a goal.
Thank you, JP.
This year is going to be at a fever pace, I believe, because I've been working a ton. As you can tell, I mean, I got stained on my hands that won't wash off. I just got home from work, blah blah blah, and so I'm hoping to put now. if the river's flooded, that's going to put a little monkey wrench into it. But my goal is to put Sean on 200-pound fish.
Well,
That's all.
hey, if I could stop cut y'all off, we have Steve Douglas out there,
What up, Steve?
What's
and
going on,
hey,
Steve?
if y'all had a good time at CatCon this year, if
Yes.
y'all had heard positive thoughts and you had a positive experience out there, let Steve know what you had, how much of a good time you had. Make sure you say hello. Make sure you tell him what a good time you had there. I was just, man, it was just every year, everyone I go to gets better and better and better, and we appreciate, Steve and Hervé. They go nonstop, and I know that the three of us were just honored to be whatever small part of CatCon, whatever way we could help. It was just an honor because we just love. I know the three of us love just having that. I called it the Disneyland of catfishing the other day because,
Yep.
Where are you going? Hey, you just caught 100-pound fish. Where are you going? I'm going to CatCon.
Going to CatCon.
That's just you'll never find a place that has more like-minded people than at the Catfish Conference. So
Stan, before Steve gets out of here, because he usually pops in and pops out, I would have to say that there's an absolute reason why Steve Douglas is known as the godfather of YouTube catfishing. And you know what? He deserves every bit of it, and he works hard, and he's always cordial. He's always, he'll talk to anybody. He's a great guy. And you know what? You can feel it. You can absolutely, and I'm not blowing smoke, because it really wouldn't matter if I was involved in CatCon either at all. I'm just lucky to be involved with it because, you can just feel when you're next to him. Steve will talk to you. He's a really great guy. It just is what it is. And Steve, not only was he in it first, he was pretty much one of the first guys, besides the, Muddy River catfishing, that actually gave enough information that people could literally go try it on their waters. I mean, holy moly, when I first started, searching YouTube, there was the only two guys that would ever come up, ever. That was it. And
Tim,
they did a great job at it.
How many times have we said that? You get your information, you hear on YouTube, you take that information, you try it on your own waters, you modify it, you do this and that. And yeah, big shout out to them. Like, we probably wouldn't be up here tonight without people like Steve and Chris Flores and
probably not.
Luke
I would, because I'm a psycho, but there's a lot of people that,
yeah, you'd be out there somewhere. That's for sure. But I never
I
would
don't
have
know
been.
about up there, but I'd still be catching fish because that was my big dream since I was little. But with information, with guys like Steve Douglas and like 1,000 others now, guys that, if they have very little time, they can go out there and be fairly successful.
Freddie,
You just YouTube it.
That's right. Next year, 2024, going to be even bigger and better. Get the tickets now. The tickets are already available. The VIP tickets are already available. Make sure you check that out. That's true. The Tennessee and the James are two totally different rivers. And that's why you've got to take the information you hear. Steve put out a great thing today, and that's why, Tim, like you were saying, Steve is always trying to give credit to somebody else, and he's starting a new thing. And by the way, congratulations, Epic, on the Golden Whiskers Hall of Fame. That was amazing.
Absolutely.
Dude, I'm
Congratulations.
still blown away. Just to be mentioned in the same sentence as those two guys, it's huge. Absolutely huge.
Well deserved, though. Huge. Well deserved.
Well, here or there, but I was taken away. I was taken aback. I was blown away because I don't know. I just can't explain it because Steve Douglas and Chris Flores have been kind of heroes of mine, and to be even in the same ballpark as them guys, oh, holy moly! I mean, really.
Well, Tim, as far as catfish knowledge and catfish knowledge and scientific this and the reason behind that, and you know, outstanding. But with excuse me, with Steve and Chris putting that information out, you tried to do that with catfish. Well, I'm choked up tonight.
Yeah, I am too. I am too.
But with your early,
my
with your
mom and dad came. My mom and dad came over to the shop, my furniture shop, the other night. They said, "Well, how did it go?" Because they stopped and they saw where I was, building the big catfish and painting them up and doing it, on the rock wall and all that stuff. I said you wouldn't believe it if I told you. And my mom, is like the night. She's like 4'9", of course. That's where I got my height from. So my mom's 4'9". My dad's like, he kind of towers over me a little bit. And my dad is very, very, probably the smartest person I've ever met. Like almost to the zen factor. But my mom is like 217 hillbilly nice. I mean, just from total different worlds. And my mom said, she said, I'm so proud of you. And although my dad didn't say it, he probably was. But dads don't say that stuff, moms do. And it just really hit home because, they asked me and I'm like, I got put into the Catfishing YouTube Hall of Fame. And my mom's like, I knew you would. She's like awesome, giving me hugs and stuff. And I said, but what you're not seeing is it's the people.
Thank you, Dustin.
That are behind that. The people that voted. I mean, that's the real story. Because I mean, you come out and talk about science all you want, but if people don't really have a connection with you, they're not voting for you. I mean, that just is, and so I appreciate everybody that nominated or voted or whatever. And yeah, I'm trying to use my cerebellum to not get all emotional, but I mean, when it really comes down to it, it's not me, it's not it's the people, because if they appreciate you, they'll vote for you, and I'm just happy to help. I mean, I don't want to, get all frosty and,
You set a great example.
whatever. Well, and you know what? I hope to continue to set a great example. They say the older you get, you just don't care. Well, I hope I don't ever get to that point, because I'm as excited about. I'm actually more excited now about helping people than 5-6 years ago when I was just doing it and not saying anything. Yeah.
Well, Tim, that, like I said, that example, Steve will say it was people before him, and Chris will say it's people before him, and
Sure.
man, I really am choked up tonight. But it was your example of how freely you pass on information, and that's why I try to do what I do.
I've always believed that catfish have a better shot, big catfish have a better shot at going back in the water when people can catch multiples of them, because then people start to appreciate them. A 50-pound flathead, I believe, and I've seen it throughout my life. If somebody gets lucky and catches one, it's more likely to go in the back of a pickup truck and drove it out of town and then dumped than it is to be appreciated. And so once people figure out that they are rare, that it is tough to catch giant fish, you got to really know what you're doing. You got to put your time in, your dues in. I think they're more valuable to people. And I have seen more accolades for letting go that 130-pound fish than other people saying, well, why didn't you eat that? Whereas 20 years ago, people were like, oh, you're the dumbest guy in the world. You should have kept that. And it's still the general perception of the regular public to say, what do you do with those fish? Do you eat them? And so Sean and I and the kids and me and, everybody else, we make jokes about it. But literally, the catfish to me and to probably all of you, we're not here to where we can just exploit them. We appreciate them for what they are and the monsters that they are and the difficulty that there is in landing one or even locating one, that it's kind of a heartfelt thing. So I'm not saying it's a religion, but it is one of those things that we think about. I think about it. I've tried to target giant catfish my entire life. And I would say, and it's going to sound dumb, but I've only caught 10 fish over 100 pounds in my entire life of crazy psycho catfishing. That's only 10. Now, if I could divide that by hours fished, it would be really lopsided in the first probably 15 or 20 years. Probably 20, of which I caught like hardly any because I didn't have the knowledge or the wherewithal I had all the staying power and the youth and the firing baits and doing all this. I was just freaking living with it. I would stay overnight on islands for 7 days and blah, blah, blah. But until I figured out the equation for doing it and the areas I needed to focus on, I was just willy-nilly. I was just running around. And so, but I've caught more fish from 80. Yes, Steve Douglas. That's right. Old school. And you know what? If I could talk to my young self, I'd be like, listen, son, you need to focus on a few things and just quit being I wouldn't say quit being a psycho, but I would say, okay, now, son, little sensei, I want you to stay here. I want you to stay there. I want you to use your this, yes, but I want you to use your heart more. And we kind of make jokes. We kind of make jokes on people's live shows. What flavor?
Oh my goodness!
Palmetto Cats. Rob laughs at your chicken. So anyway, I would literally say use the force a little bit. It's not that, but we joke in chats. Use the force. Get your stuff all figured out. Get your bait. Get your whatever. And back in the day, I had like absolute fiascos where my bait all died. I was on my way 3 hours and it all died because all I had was which back in those days it was kind of high tech when you have like a 360 GPH spray bar and all this stuff. But I would have scales get caught in it and all my baits dead. I've got some horror stories. Trust me.
the flavored chicken question.
The flavored chicken.
Brings me back to CatCon.
Hey, but seriously, and I've said this from the beginning.
Yeah.
There is many different types of catfishing, and y'all have heard me say from the beginning, it's not the size of the fish; it's the size of the excitement that it brings you.
Yes.
So if you're into catching 3-pound eater-sized catfish, and that's what you like, hey, the flavor of chicken, that's going to be important because you're going to catch, that's what you're looking for. You're going to catch, but that's great. That's great. You're going to go out and catch fish after fish, and awesome. If that's what excites you, great. If you're trying to get up to that next level of fish,
So Stan, I know this is hard to believe because it was eons ago, but I danced a jig after catching a 4-pound channel cat a bunch of times, and I won the Super Bowl. Granted, I was 9, but I did win the Super Bowl with a 4-pound channel cat. But it took me another 5 years to catch my first 12-pound channel cat.
Mm-hmm.
It just downtown Ernie Brown. Ernie, I may be able to write a book by the time I can't fish anymore, because I don't see my brain leaving. I see all this other stuff. Yeah, I can still run and jump up on a stage and do all that stuff, but yeah, I'm not what I was before, and yeah, it's coming to all of us. But anyways, I would say I would love to tell you the benchmarks, and I think I can in general terms. So it wasn't
Hey,
really, yeah.
go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry. I was just laughing.
So the benchmarks were, I was so ate up with it, which I still am. But the benchmarks was, first of all, thinking about it and then doing it and then riding my bike 3 miles one way and then 2 miles the other way to the closest I could get to an actual river. And then, catching a 3-pound channel cat. But what I didn't know is in my neck of the woods, there isn't big channel cats, but occasionally. And it's the travel, it's the timing and the travel, because and you guys have heard me talk about catfish being very mobile, and even channel cats are this far up a main river. I mean, the Spoon River is a great channel cat river. There's some guys that like frequent this, that they fish farther south and they do really well with flatheads and big channel cats. Well, I live in the headwaters, and I didn't realize that they migrated. I really didn't. I thought they were there all the time. So I'm stuck with bullheads, and I'm doing this stuff, and I literally like stayed overnight a bunch of times. And so, but what I didn't know is that there wasn't big channel cats here. There wasn't big channel cats in July here. They were here not in June. They were here in April and May. And I didn't figure out that until I was almost 20 years old. But so that's what I hope to be able to teach people, is that they're not spending all that energy and there's just no catfish there.
Hey, Stan.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't mean to cut Epic off.
Well,
I always love listening to him talk. Can I do a shout out real quick?
Oh,
Do them all.
Dustin, of course you can.
I'm gonna be quiet for a minute because I've been talking a while.
Well, that's what you're here for, Tim.
Right.
And that's what we love about you is you love to talk. Well, that's one of the things. So we did our show, Snagging Night Live, Thursday night at CatCon, and it was fantastic. I just want to say thank you to everybody that was there. You, Epic, Stan, Kevin, your Sean even came up on the show. The 1 Ton Fishing Club. So everybody that LG, I now I feel how LG Bass felt. He critiqued me on Kevin's show the other night because he had to come up after you. And so, awesome. But anyway, that night on the show, I was talking about what we were going to buy at CatCon, and I told everybody I had one purchase, had one thing in particular I wanted to get, and that was a new anchor, a new Never Lost anchor. And I was talking, a few people asked me a couple of questions. I said, I might get one, I might get two, I'm not sure. And my shout out is to Butterflies and Sunshine. Because in the chat, after we made those comments, we were talking about price points and all that. She said, Dustin, get whatever 2 anchors you want and I'll pay for them. So, and I wanted to shout out my appreciation for her generosity.
Yeah.
And so I told her, she was in another chat I was in a little bit ago, and I wanted to show her. I'm in my truck, so you have to forgive me.
Well, and Stan 3 is very happy that Dustin got these, so we can stop stealing Stan 3's Never Lost anchor.
So this is the first one. That's the new Pro edition, and that is the original one. But what I wanted to say, what I wanted to tell Butterflies and Sunshine is, in true Team Snag and Whiskers fashion, if those of you that know what we've got donated to us in the past, we're going to name these. So this first one is Butterfly, and this one is Sunshine.
Oh, there you go. Awesome, awesome.
So I will be putting the names on the anchors. Don't know how long they'll last, but I just wanted to tell Butterflies
Freddie.
and Sunshine thank you, and let her know that those anchors are named after her.
Dustin, there were some sexy looking anchors right there.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
And Tim, that is one thing. Dustin and I spent an hour and a half, the one show, a live show. We spent an hour and a half probably trying to show how not to anchor. Well, we were trying to prove how important it is to anchor properly, but we were just doing a bad job of it. And I think with those two anchors, I think that'll help out tremendously.
Yeah.
No, stand 3.
I've seen how not to anchor, because usually there's an ambulance involved. A lot of times. Yeah.
And Freddie, thank you. I can't thank Freddie enough. We were talking about the Freddie Rods report. First of all, Jody's about to go live in a few minutes. She's got the Flathead Challenge isn't starting yet, but it's just she's going live now at 9:00 on Friday. So thank you, Jody. Big shout out to Jody.
So Stan, I would have to say one of the biggest things about becoming a YouTube guy that watches stuff after, like, Sean showed me what's going on YouTube, and there's actually people worth watching. Yeah, I'm a little jealous of everybody's they're already catching flatheads, and it's not even like my birthday. We may get a snow or two before then, and it's cold as crap, and our flatheads are going. I mean, that's all they're doing. But other parts of the country, they're catching flatheads already. It's pretty awesome.
Tim, I'm just saying, Stan 3 has already caught 2 flatheads over 40 inches in the last 12 days. I'm just saying, but go ahead. I'm just saying.
I didn't hear that, Stan. But yeah, no. Congratulations to everybody who is in flathead land, that they can literally catch flatheads at this point in time. Well,
sorry, Tim.
Because you're on the East Coast, my friend, and you are spoiled.
Yes,
spoiled
we are.
There is no true wintering time. This true wintering stuff happens upon my head right here where I live. It's always been that way. It's all right.
Hey, Stan. Hey,
Dustin, go ahead.
Speaking of Jody's show, I got to jump out so I can go over there and help her with that. But I just want to say thank you to Epic for coming up and always blessing us with your knowledge.
Good to see you.
It's always a great time. Good to see you as well.
One of these days, you'll actually say something like, "I'm glad you were here because I actually like you," instead of just the knowledge thing. Because I think that well, you know what I'm saying.
Well, that goes. I don't think I have to say that.
I know. I'm kidding.
I know.
No, y'all are awesome, and I'm truly blessed to have got to know you, Dustin. Because
absolutely,
yeah,
same goes for me.
You're a good man.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
As are you.
No,
All right. Go ahead, Dustin. Jump on over. We're gonna go for a little. We're gonna go for a little bit here, but somebody could drop Jody's link. She's gonna be going live in a little. She's gonna be going live pretty much now.
All right. I'll see you guys later.
Well, I think it's both Stan 3. Thanks, Dustin. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Stan 3, no, they're no more prevalent than ever. You're actually just zoning in on them, because I don't think maybe the population has grown a little bit, but not to a percent at which you could chalk that up to just getting lucky. Avid fisherman.
But yeah, Tim, I didn't want to. I had no idea it was going to turn into this kind of show, but You know,
Yeah, it was an awesome show. I mean,
the whole intention was, I know you had a epic seminar that a lot of people didn't get to
because it was
fully
it was
enjoy.
day.
I was one of the lucky ones that got to sit out there. Some people said they could hear it, some people couldn't. I did it live.
Yep.
I did it live that day. The internet was kind of funky with some other people, and they dropped out. The people that said they could hear it the best, if you want to go check out Epic's seminar, wear some headphones or the earbuds, and you can hear what's going on. But that was live on the 25th. It's labeled Epic Seminar at CatCon.
Well, Stan, there was some information that was rehashed, but there was a lot of brand new stuff there that should have been able to hit home to people that want to catch giant fish. I mean, that was my purpose, because we could do, I can kind of talk off of the cuff about that, but I had a certain purpose in mind, and that was letting people know that although some people fish reverse current, they don't really know why. They don't know to target, and they don't know to recognize it when they get to it. Now, I'm not, and some guys do. I mean, and just remember one thing: there are guys that are not on the internet that are great catfishermen that you will never hear from. And I have 8 or 10 friends just like that. I mean, they don't have a YouTube channel, they don't have a TikTok channel, but they're great catfishermen in their own, respect. And a lot of them that understand reverse current is not, even though they're great, they didn't really know about it until, and I'm not saying I'm anything special, but I ended up putting it together kind of on accident. And then I started thinking about it and extrapolating on it. And then I started realizing how many gigantic fish I really do catch in a reverse current situation. It's not an eddy, and that's why I built all that stuff, because it's very hard to explain. And so I was hoping it was going to be online in a good fashion, filmed well, with good audio, so that people could put that together. And so as a matter of fact, it wasn't, so I'll have to do it again next CatCon.
Well, there you go.
So
And
I'll have to do the repeat, because it is so important. Because it doesn't matter if you're on the Mississippi, doesn't matter if you're on the Tennessee, doesn't matter if you're on. It doesn't really matter. Reverse current is one of those things that giant catfish inhabit a lot of the part of the year, if not all the part of the year, because it's reverse current, as I recollect, on some of my greatest giant fish spots that have fish spring, summer, fall, and winter. That is one thing they all have in common. They have at least some reverse current, and it's just not obvious to the eye.
And Tim, we've even talked about the one spot where I have managed to hook up on some epic fish. And
the devil cat spot definitely has reverse current from your explanations.
So that may be something we're going to be fishing a little differently this year, and see if we can't finally land that monster. There's some big fish in there.
So, Stan, one thing that I would advise on that spot is to sonar it very carefully before you even fish it, for one. Make a note of the large catfish that you mark, and then understand that a reverse current spot is mainly a holding spot until that right bite window, because you can literally go in there, let's just say the summer period, where we pretty much all know that it's going to be an hour before dark to an hour afterward. That's going to be the biggest peak, and then at 11 to 12, and then 2:30 to 4:30, and blah blah blah. And then
and we have to, here we have to factor in that high and low tide, incoming, outgoing tide.
Absolutely. So you could factor in the beginning of the high tide. That's which is it high tide or low? It's low tide, which the water's going out. It's running from upstream to downstream, right?
Yeah.
Fact,
Once it hits high tide, it's made it all the way up
yep. And
to
then
Richmond
when
at
it's
high
going
tide,
from upstream
and
to
then it's
downstream, which would be low tide
yep,
on the ocean, high tide, and
high
so
tide to low
basically,
tide. Yep,
so
yep,
you
yep,
could
yep.
go 40 minutes before that, and that is going to be your moniker for activity level. So when you set up to that, you know that you can either try to put it on them, which is probably not going to work in the summer period, but you're going to have to go to the pinnacle of the upstream, not very far, but the upstream where the bottom topography goes up, because they're going to go in, and then all of a sudden, instead of fish like this that you're marking, all of a sudden you're going to start marking them like that. So just call me.
All right,
Yeah,
all right.
sorry, Palmetto. This is my old phone and it blows.
It actually wasn't.
It's like
Actually, you never lagged tonight. It was always. It was.
that's a miracle. I have my
Yeah,
new
it was a
phone, which
miracle. Tonight was one
I'm
of
gonna
those
give
miracle
you guys the
streams.
phone number for it, because it's like a new 14. This might as well be a -6. It's got sawdust packed into the microphone so bad I can't even get it out.
And
And it's been in the river like 5 times.
hey,
So Steve Ransom, that's what I talked about at CatCon. How do you find a spot with reverse current? And I literally had to spell it out with visuals, because it's not something that you could like write an article about, because it's going to be so up to interpretation. So Steve Ransom, I am going to, even as descriptive as I am or I can be, it's almost impossible. So either you're going to have to watch that and see what you can glean from that, or you're going to have to wait till next CatCon, because it's very it's very difficult. But I would say this, and I said this during my thing, I would say 60% of my giants, over 80, oh yeah, probably 70% of giants over 70 or 80 pounds have come from reverse current. And I would say nearly
well,
probably 90% of my fish over 100 have come from reverse current situations, or reverse current very nearby. I may have went into the
and
straight down current just above a reverse current, but it seems that the reverse current, which is only probably 2 to 3% of the spots that big catfish even hold, let alone 2 to 3% of the spots that big catfish inhabit on a major river. So, it is literally the spot on the spot. There's a bit of hydrodynamics to it, and I don't, it's not as complex as what a person would think. Yeah, Kevin, this thing has been dropped
and
at least 8
Tim,
times.
I
Yeah,
would say I concur with that, because we have a lot of wing dikes here on the James River, especially the upper James River where we fish. Let me correct that. We fish the upper of the lower section of the
yeah,
James River. We fish the upper section of the tidal river. We fish where a lot of people don't fish for big catfish.
yeah.
And we do pretty well there. Are we gonna, the chances that we're gonna catch that hundo, that 100-pounder there? Probably not. But
You could, yeah, you could. And remember one thing: even though I talk about monsters and their habitat and whatever, they will still foray into lesser habit. I wouldn't say lesser. For their choice, they will still move. Yes, they will still move into areas that nobody would expect them to, but it is a small percentage of time. And I try to tell people this, on TikToks or YouTubes or whatever. Every time I post something about, well, you want to stick closer to the main channel, you want to stick for to deeper water, blah blah blah, for monsters, I get at least 10 people in my thing say, well, there was a 97 caught in 4 foot of water on such and such lake. I'm like, yes, that's a lake, and there's no absolutes in fishing, but I do know this one. The one thing I do know is when I did focus on shallower water, I did use my flathead and channel cat mentality. I was way less successful at landing monsters. And let's think about it. Last year, Sean and I only went 4 times. We did 4 live shows, 4 weekends, and we caught that huge amount of 50 plus pound fish, including a 111. Now, that wasn't because we were chasing fish on the shallows. That wasn't because we were like willy-nilly fishing, maybe, a tributary creek or a creek mouth or whatever. We stayed in the main channel. We did what was necessary to put those fish in the boat in short order. And I believe that if people followed that same mantra, they would catch more and bigger fish, or at least have contact with them.
But Tim, I would say the majority of our Stan 3 and I were talking a couple weeks ago when we had one of those days. Some days you're the windshield, and some days you're the bug.
Yep.
Well, we were the bug that day.
Yeah.
And we caught a few nice fish. It wasn't even a horrible trip.
Yeah.
We caught some nice fish. Size matters. Thank you. It was great meeting you. Thank you. Thanks for live stream, Stan. Love the catfish community. A huge thanks to Tim with his catfish and 101 knowledge.
Brother, I'm glad to do it. Glad to do it. It just, holy moly. But remember one thing, Stan. There are bodies of water, such as mine, that do not have the amount of fish or big catfish per acre. You would not believe it. I wish I could take you all just looking at my fish finder, as I could go up and down 9 to 12 miles of river and literally see a whole bunch of nothing. Because a major, a river such as the Mississippi or other rivers, the Ohio, they're matured rivers. Their population is not on the upswing.
And Tim, before you keep going on, one thing I want to add with that, with the electronics, don't think you need live scope. Don't think you need the latest and greatest.
Even though I think live school would be cool as shit.
Oh, it'd be awesome. But whatever electronics you have, learn how to use them to the best of your ability. We have a Helix 5. I think we're up to Helix 15 now or something. If you've got depth, if you've got, water temperature, you got the, where you can see where the things happen, that's all you need. That is, when you learn how to read that and you learn how to position yourself on that effectively, that's what you need. And but I'm sorry, Tim, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I first started using what was called a Legend 2000. It was a Humminbird Legend 2000, and it was literally the best thing they had in 2000. It was a dot matrix. It only had basically one channel, and it was just as bad as Space Invaders. But yet, once I got accustomed to it, I could literally not only see depth, but I could see fish. I could see big fish. I could start to figure out how long that dot matrix was, and maybe it had 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it had double dots.
Yes.
It had whatever. But literally, I could tell you the difference between a 3-foot fish and a 5-foot fish, and I couldn't necessarily. It wasn't with like the clarity, and you couldn't remove screens or whatever, but you just had to have faith. And the only thing it was going to tell you have faith was literally time on the water, because and for those of you that are trying to figure out your electronics, the best thing you could come up on is you go through a whole area the size of a football field, and the only thing you mark is one big fish. Have your sensitivity up, and you got your little clattering of bait fish or whatnot. But if you turn your sensitivity down and you only see one fish, and you are lucky enough or good enough to triangulate that fish, throw the baits down, and catch that one fish. Now you have a baseline. Now you have a baseline between what you saw on either your dot matrix, $12 fish finder from years ago, or your nice Helix 9 or 14, Helix 9 or 14. So all of a sudden now you have a pretty good baseline. But just remember this: it kind of matters on even the best fish finders how you move into that. If I'm moving this way, if the ass end of the boat is going from left to right, and I mark what I think is a big fish, I cannot trust that. I have to go from upstream to downstream or downstream to upstream. I can't be moving on that fish. Otherwise it will elongate that, and it will give me a false sense of security. So once you've got that figured out from time on the water, and then you've marked something that you feel is pretty good, size of your finger, let's just say on the screen, and all of a sudden you got what you feel is a school bus. There's only one thing that's going to tell you that: you got to catch that fish. Once you catch that fish and you have your evidence in your hand at what you were seeing on the screen, that's what we call interpretation. So interpretation is everything.
Oh, Tim, isn't that like for those that are just like I fished the longest time with nothing, and
Sure.
then we would use I had the old 1980s Eagle, fish finder that was about like that, and I used to use it a lot.
Dan, that was only like 1 year older than the Legend 2000.
And you know what I used to use that a lot? I used to use it to see how far down to make sure I had my bait close to the bottom, or how far up off the bottom. If I was fishing for crappie or bass, or but you have to have it in different water column, different part of the water column, and you could see if fish were coming up. And ice fishing, we bring it out there. And if we were trying to jig for yellow perch or bluegill or whatever, you wanted to see if something was there, but that just proves my point. Like whatever electronics you have, just use it, or whatever electronics you have, whatever rods you have, whatever line, use it. Learn how to use that to the best of its ability.
Yep.
And
the best
big
of
shout
your
out.
ability. Because remember one thing, okay? At one time, I was terrible at fishing, and I'll tell you that right now. At one time, I didn't have the tools, I didn't have the knowledge. All I had was the heart and tenacity, and I imagined things because I extrapolated what fish should be doing with my human mind. I thought, oh my gosh, it's got to be this and it's got to be that. Now, granted, I am a scientific mind that wants to see patterns, and I want to be able to understand patterns so that I can duplicate success, because I am a success-driven, success-oriented psycho. There's no doubt about it. I want to be able to do things Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I want to be able to do that. But in my old days of not understanding things like I do now, and I'm not saying I have everything figured out. I'm just saying that once I paired off all the other humanistic stuff, I got closer to the root of being able to be successful. And think about this. It's not that we all have to be the greatest. We don't. It is the fact that we don't all just get to fish every day. If we got to fish every day, oh, well, yesterday we didn't do so well. Maybe we'll do whatever. But what's up, Sean? So with the little bitty amount of time we really have these days, it just helps being that much closer to the equation, at being close to what the catfish are doing, not what we're thinking that they're doing. Because what we're thinking that they were doing 20 years ago wasn't even close. Read any magazine you wanted to, and it was going to throw you so off kilter that you just will. I mean, it was just poking hope.
Dude, Tim, getting off subject just a little bit, sitting there that night listening to you and what was his name? Casey, the guy with the Santee Cooper rig that Kevin had brought into the hotel.
Yeah, the guy that invented the Santee Cooper rig.
Oh man, for those of us that are like, we appreciate like the things that came before us, and hearing those. I mean, man, wasn't that just? I know you were even sitting there, kind of like, and the rest of us were. You and him were sitting there talking, and the rest of us were kind of like,
yeah, because if you really understand, I don't know how to say it, except for I always have revered people that have done things first, the ones that figured things out when there wasn't a manual for it, there wasn't a thing, and they figured things out, and maybe they got lucky, maybe they didn't, but maybe they've got something that I should pay attention to. And remember one thing, I come from a long line of people that said somebody knows a lot more than you. My dad reminded me of that all the time, because I was one of those kids that thought I had things figured out, like a lot of kids. He's like, pretty much reminded me I didn't know shit, and he was right. I needed to listen to people that came before me to understand what was going on, or at least be able to make a good decision. Danny Stone. You know what? If you don't know Danny Stone, you should, because that guy's a character, and he's a likable dude, and he's a knowledgeable fisherman. And
you know what?
Anybody that carries a sidearm straight up on on his YouTube channel as he's going live, that's a good deal.
Look, I've got I play Powerball and Mega Millions every, now and then, and I've got a list. And there's a list of people that are getting, because the one thing that would suck about winning that and nobody else does is that your friends wouldn't have that. So I've got a list of everybody that's going to be millionaires.
Nice.
So that we can go fishing and do all our stuff all the time whenever we want to do it.
Well,
he's on the list. So are you. There's a bunch of people out there. I want everybody to come out and just be able to just go fishing all the time and hang out and have a good time. And Danny Stone, you can't help but have a good time when he's around.
No. Yeah.
But what were we talking about before that? Gosh darn it.
We were talking about people that are older that we appreciate.
Oh, but like the old school, like Tim, I remember finding depth. Like we would put like a huge weight or the plumb stone down, and you would have that until you find like that ledge, and that's a lot of old schoolers would have like mason line with depths out on it, and that's how you found like the ledges and the channels and all that kind of old school stuff that the modern technology kind of tells you in seconds, but it would take hours. Did I ever give you some of them barbecue chips? Barbecue Mike is out there. I've met him at Kansas City CatCon and now at this CatCon. Oh my goodness. Barbecue Mike, thank you for the chips.
So Stan, as you brought that up, I rarely talk about this situation, but I am old enough to have talked with Ed Davis. I actually fished with Jim Moyer. I talked with Virgil Agee on the phone, and I know I'm throwing out names that a lot of younger guys that weren't into catfishing wouldn't really recognize, but any of us old Gen Xers would, and I'm sure there's people in that crowd that have heard of those names. Now, some of them couldn't explain a hill of beans. They just knew how to catfish. I mean, there's no doubt. And I could give you a list of 20 names because, even at 19, I would see somebody that was purported to be an expert or maybe was an expert. I would find their home and I would call them. Matter of fact, Sean and I, when Sean was young, lived in a house out in the country. We had like a bachelor pad out in the country, and here and I'm calling and bugging people that were like published in Fisherman magazine, as everybody else are just having a great time. And I'm not saying I didn't have a great time too, but I bugged Doug Stange till he never wanted to hear Tim Scott again. I mean, it was just one of those things, and luckily, people like Virgil Agee, I could talk to, and it's some of the principles, at least some, like Virgil Agee, Denny Hogren, some of those guys, at least they led me down the course through some of the things that they said, because I could pick these things out, in like maybe maybe somewhat of a convoluted conversation, or maybe whatever, where they're telling me you got to use bullheads, or you got to be here, you got to be there, but I could pick something out that I needed to explore down that road, because something about it, something was leading these guys to be able to catch a giant fish or two.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And yeah, and so I'm going to give them credit for being some of the pioneers, because really nobody cared about catfishing,
Yeah. And
25, 30 years ago.
and with YouTube, like I could never shoot. I was till a couple years ago, I was that typical old man. I called it the Facebook and hated social media and didn't believe in any of this
Yep.
kind of garbage.
Yep,
and
me too.
and now look at me. Here I am. You and I are like we had 70 people in here tonight, and we're
Nice.
and it's just
Nice.
mind blowing to us. The younger generations that's kind of dealt with this since they've grown up with it, but for us, that's like something unbelievable. But
You know what's goofy, Stan, is that my two boys, once I get on YouTube, they're kind of rolling their eyes at me, because they're kind of anti social media. They're just like,
well,
they're just like, get the hard work done, do live your real life, and unfortunately they haven't seen it yet. One will never see it, but the other one, he will see it too. And I told him, I said, I wish I had a film of me doing the craziest stuff I've ever done, because and I told him, I said, wouldn't you like to look back on it when you're like 50 and go, oh, look at that crazy, awesome looking dude? Because I looked great compared to what I look like now. I look like an old grizzly man doing that stuff. But back in those days, I looked kind of great compared to what I could look like.
Tim, I found one picture. I don't even think I found it. I think Stan found it in like my. I showed you, right, at CatCon. I showed you. I'm like,
dude, back then.
Yeah, I'm like, check this out. This was 19 years ago. Look at me.
6 foot forward, all slim and all. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was like, wow, look at
that. Yeah, exactly. And
I'm like, you would never even believe this was me. Check this out. And they've got the ability to do that from the time they're born.
Yeah.
Till, we didn't have that. Like, it was Polaroids and the 110 cameras and.
I wish I had a million pictures from years ago, but our pictures were terrible, because you can look through that, your head's cut off.
All right.
It's like a dumb picture of a fish.
For everybody out there, we were color pictures. We weren't black and white. I know people are out there, oh, you guys were so old that it was black and no, we were color pictures.
Oh yeah, we started with black and white. Trust me on that.
Oh, remember black and white TV? I remember.
That's what I had. Oh yeah, you darn right. 4, 6, and 8, and I was the remote control. Trust me.
Oh,
because my brother and sister were just
son of a gun,
barely breathing air at that time.
Tim, you stole my joke. My dad was like,
I'm sorry.
son of a bitch. We got the first remote control on the block. Damn, son, get on up there and change that to channel 5.
Yeah, and you'd be lucky if you're off of that turnstile until like supper went. That's all it was. Yeah. Yeah. Baby pick. Yep, Doug. Mine are too. All of mine are. 'Cause my brother and sister were just. Just. They were barely breathing air at that time.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And
I do have some. I
oh
do
yeah.
have some that are black and
Well, color was for rich people. I don't think my parents spent money on color.
Hey, I
Holy
was trying
moly.
to make myself feel a little younger,
I know.
okay? I was just
Joe's
trying to feel a
Ziegler,
little
buckle up,
younger.
brother, because I'm hitting it hard. Hey, and so I have pictures of some of my like great grandmas that I never knew. Those women had chins bigger than mine. I mean, these women would just bust your ass.
They were
And I'm
tough.
telling you, I have heard stories. I've got an old German grandma that I heard through my grandma grapevine that like my some of my uncles would get a little bit rowdy, and she'd just like hammer them right off the coffee table, bam. And I knew these uncles, and they actually refuted it as truth. And I'm like, holy moly! And I saw some pictures. I got to put it up online, but I don't think anybody would believe it.
No, stories from back in the day. Life just keeps
Dude,
evolving
I
and
got
changing, and
grandmas with forearms like bigger than yours. And these are the women.
yeah, my mother was like 97 pounds, but I remember knocking this one guy that said he disrespected her, and she knocked him
Yeah.
right between the studs in the wall. He went right through the damn sheetrock, and
I got 100-pound like grandmas and great grandmas, but
yeah,
I also got like 250 great grandmas and
oh
grandmas
yeah,
that just freaking knock your lights out. I mean, holy moly! But see, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Those that came before us, they had hard lives. They're worthy of listening to because it's somewhere they had a granite that could help you today. And so I've always been respectful of that, and I taught my sons to be respectful of that. And I'm telling you, they both of them have sought the the they they have sought the advice of people that came before them, and they understand that they weren't the new age kids that think they know everything, because I told them
well,
both. I says, listen, I said, literally the older people hold the power to your future. They can tell you things that will help you. They hold the power to, because literally if an older person is not impressed with the person you are now, how much money can you really make?
well, and Tim, one of my greatest CatCon memories, believe it or not, was from Kansas City, and that was when we came out from what was it, Joe's Crab Shack, or I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was, but we were right
Oh
there
yeah,
on the river,
I
and
remember it. I'm not stealing your thunder. I just know exactly what you're talking about.
and I wasn't even part of it, but Stan 3 and you were kind of, and he got, I don't know, half hour, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, and you were just kind of, that is
Well,
one of my greatest
well,
CatCon memories.
we were right on the river, and your son had such intelligent questions based on the hydrodynamics of that river that we could see on the top. And not only that, he thought enough to go up and to look at the river and look at it realistically. Okay, where would you fish here from what you see? And that's why I say I will remember that forever. Because anybody like your son has great fishing IQ, and I will tell you this. And he wouldn't even actually literally have to show me a fish that he ever caught. It's just by the questions, just by the understanding, just by the way he kind of massages a question into place. And so he says, where would you fish based on this time of year, blah blah blah, based on the. He didn't say hydro, but yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
which led me to an opening. Okay, because of the hydrodynamics of the river, based on this time,
yeah.
I would go, I would go down there, and that's the first place I would search. Now I'm not so overly confident. I would say yes, there's fish here, and yes, there's fish there in that scenario, but I do cross rivers on a bridge and go, there's bladed, there's blue, there it is. I can see them with my eye and my heart. I know exactly where it is. And if Heroes is still in here, he would tell you that every time we go over a river like that, he's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, whatever." Oh, or I get excited about it. Is it worth 7 hours driving here? Maybe.
Oh,
Maybe
that's
not.
awesome. Danny Stone said he just sent me a picture. If I freeze up, I gotta just go
First
check this out
catfish.
for just a second.
So Stan, hold the fort down. Oh boy. Now I'm holding the fort down. So Danny Stone sent a picture of his first catfish. I'd actually, I hope Stan forwards that to me, because I just cannot imagine Danny Stone at like 5 years old. Maybe he was 20. Who knows?
And boom, boom, bam, I'm back.
All right, Stan. I gotta go see a man about a horse real quick, but I'll be back.
Okay. Danny Stone, that is awesome. That is, I have no doubt about that. That is, Danny Stone sent me a picture of one of his first catfish, and that was pretty cool. That is the old school pictures that I'm used to. Hey, James, great to see you tonight. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, what an awesome night it's been. I was so, hey, Clint, maybe we do a Friday night show every night at 8 p.m., every Friday at 8 p.m. We'll have you come up one of these Friday nights. It was great meeting you. You made so many people happy with me passing out those T-shirts and the stickers. CBA, what's up, my friend? How you doing? What did I miss? Oh, Mike, I'll let him know. Man, everybody that has tried those, I had like half a bag left. I had to secure them in my suitcase. And my wife and everybody here was like, "Oh my God, these are amazing."
So I'm back.
Barbecue Mike says, "Tell Tim I got him some chips." I've met Barbecue Mike at a couple of the CatCons. He was at Kansas City and now at this one, and he got us. I think I might have ate most of them up at the front. When we were up there at the front door trying to get people into CatCon.
Nice.
I was needing some energy, so I was eating some chips. But
well, Stan Barbecue Mike has he has been a big not really a commenter and a liker of a lot of my TikTok stuff. Which
yeah, big time
if
over
anybody
there.
knows,
Yep.
I have not filmed anything for TikTok and not showed it on YouTube. Most of my TikTok stuff is like from live shows. I mean, if you have a 12 or a 16-hour live show, most people never see like the little idiosyncrasies that goes on. So I pick out of those, put them on TikTok, because I can do that while drinking coffee at 6:30 in the morning before I even get to work. It takes me 2 minutes, but trust me on this. This year, I intend on doing some more like full on YouTube videos if I can. And it's been a little bit rough because, of course, I have to have my own business, lost my son.
And
so it's really
Tim,
good.
as always, if I can ever help you with being backstage and y'all got the full screen and I'm just kind of helping you out with chat or whatever, please just let me know when I can help you with that. I'd be more than happy to just kind of be the voice behind the scene and just reading the questions to you. And this way you and Sean can work on catching the fish and doing all those epic things. But
that'd be kind of different, because usually when I'm like all psychoing up on the fish, Sean's gonna be I'd be like, Sean, talk to the people. And,
Yeah.
and
I
go
could do
back
that
there
for you
and
behind the
post
scene. Just
on it.
let me know. We'll work that
Yeah.
out, and that'll be awesome.
We should, except for I usually go live on just regular YouTube. I got to get a
Yep.
StreamYard account and all that stuff. And thank goodness I got a new phone this year, Stan. And it's the big megaphone, and it's going to be for business and like going live and doing videos only. I'll keep this phone, but this phone is terrible. It'll drop to 480 like nobody's business. Especially
You know what,
this one here has good night vision.
Tim? The great thing about people like you and myself is that we have friends that are more. They have more. We may know about catching fish and doing those kind of things,
Absolutely, yeah.
but we have friends that have more knowledge about
More
the kind of
savvy.
technology
A little
things
bit
that
more savvy.
we may not know about. So
We bring the savage into savvy. They're savvy, we're savage. So, and that's what hand race are all about.
but I'm sure we can work on a lot of things this year, and I want to put Epic Catfish in the hands of as many people that can see them, because I've been blessed, like I said,
That'd be awesome.
to have firsthand knowledge of talking with you.
Well,
My phone rings at 2 a.m. My wife automatically knows. Yep, you're talking to Tim, aren't you?
Because I'm thinking, I'm like, yeah. And there's only so many people are going to get that call at 2 a.m. Because
And
like,
JD Hill is asking, what state is Tim in?
Well, I happen to live in Illinois, but I fish in Missouri and all the way up to Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Quad Cities, and then all the way down into Giant Land in St. Louis, Missouri, and in Iowa, which is Keokuk. I really don't have anything out my back door. Nothing. What I have out my back door is 10-pound channel cats. That's what I got. And smallmouth, and it's kind of fun. But I mean, as far as giants, I would say the closest real giant, I would say, to my door, I have some giants closer, like within an hour, but I'm going to have to spend a whole lot of time to do it because their population is really low. I'm really not that far from Powerton, but I'm sorry, but I just don't love going to Powerton. It's just not one of them things. Could I catch some giant flatheads closer an hour to me? No. Could I catch some giant blues any closer than like 3.5, 4 hours? Not with a short amount of time. All-time show, excuse the term, but it's epic. Thanks, Bugman. But you know what? As long as we're talking, Bugman is a big supporter of a lot of stuff, and he's
absolutely,
very humble.
Absolutely.
He's very humble. He probably catches some monster fish he'd probably never show anybody. Yeah.
Joe Z, I've seen some pictures of Joe Z. He's caught some nice flatheads.
Yeah, and you know what? Here's one thing that I know about the people that like support your channel and my channel and all that stuff. They're not watching because they're newbies. These guys flat out catch big fish, and I'm telling you, because they're not surprised by the stuff we say. This is not a gut-wrenching trigger fest. The guys that really follow, they already know. They're just in there because they finally found people up to their level. Think about that.
Yep.
Think about that. You don't watch people that are like, you don't watch people that are really hard below your level or hard high above your level. Sean and I have a great following, and so do you, and so do a lot of people, Jody and whatever. And these guys are very guys, girls, whatever. They're very happy, cheering us on, living life, and whatever. And I would say a lot of them have caught every bit as great a fish as we have. It's just they don't have channels. And some of them are past their age. And oh boy, I'm going to get choked up here for a minute. But
Yeah, Tim, that's why I had to boop. You saw me before I went off. It was,
I know.
and I never intended that tonight. It was supposed to be
No,
just,
but it needs to be talked about, Stan. The people that are in the live shows, there's some of them that can't fish anymore, and they're
yeah,
literally cheering us on from a
dude,
standpoint of what they used to do, and they were awesome at it, and they can't do it anymore. Some of them have
dude,
fallen
Tim, I
off.
was one of them. Like I had given up on going back out there and
I know
doing
that,
that again.
Stan,
And
but dude, you're back in it. I'm talking about the guys that will never be back in it. They're in wheelchairs.
yeah, I
And,
hear you. I hear you.
and because of health reasons that they're not in it, and to me, that makes it all that much more worth it. Because if I'm ever stuck in a wheelchair, I hope there's an epic catfish out there that I can talk with that actually pay attention and think I got anything worth to say. Steve Ransom, you damn right they are. You damn right.
Yeah, yeah, and that's that's why uh, I do some TikTok things, and I know you do some TikTok things, but I know that's
Yep.
why YouTube is near and dear to both of our hearts, because a lot of those people like that Steve's talking about, they're here on YouTube, and that's why we do a lot of stuff here on YouTube. Maybe we do some other stuff, of course, because we're trying to reach as many people as we can, but a lot of those old school, and they'll do YouTube, but they won't do a lot of the other things.
Yeah.
So
Stan, remember a guy by the name of Mike Irvin?
yeah, oh yeah, I met him
Yep.
I met him last CatCon, and I got to see him again this year.
Yep. And somehow he doesn't have internet anymore.
Yep.
And yeah, dude, I think he was like the third subscriber I ever had. And
yeah, he's been amazing.
I didn't have a whole lot of time to talk to him, but my heart goes out. I mean, I'm the guy that I don't know what's going on with his internet, and it's important to him. And I think he's had some tragedy in his life. He's older, and I don't think he gets to do what he wanted to do in life, as he's older. But I miss seeing Steve, because he always had something intelligent to say. He did.
Tim, like I was at the front door. I was, this CatCon, I had a blast. I loved it. But a lot of time I was at the front door. I was doing different things, and I got to talk to him there for a little bit. And yeah, same thing.
What a great human being, though.
He got family members together so that he could get to, because they knew how important the Catfish family was to him, to get him to CatCon. And I got to take a picture with him there and that kind of stuff. But it was like,
so now I feel bad I couldn't even spend as much time with him as I did. I was glad to have seen him, and but yeah, I spent a lot of time with him the CatCon before at yeah.
Big Wrench says, Big Wrench, another, he's a two-stand fishing family member there. Big Wrench was there 24/7 at CatCon.
Oh yeah, dude, he helped me either take down or set up. I can't remember.
Yes. I was going to say he was over there helping you out.
Oh yeah.
And Tim, that's something that you and I both agree upon. Like, if you go to CatCon, we got that YouTube over there. Whether you're on this side of the camera or that side of the camera, we're all part of that same. We wouldn't be up here talking with people that are out there chatting. And please come over to the YouTube area.
Oh hell no! I have a lot of private messages that said, "Hey, I saw you talking to people, but I just didn't want to interrupt." And I will say this always: interrupt. Come up, talk, tap me on the shoulder. I may not know exactly who you are according to your screen name. I don't, because, you know, a lot of people don't have like channels, which I could literally put a face to a name, but none of that matters. Come up and tap me on the shoulder. I will make time for you. Trust me. I will.
That's one thing I can guarantee. Yeah, and I know it's probably more important to you even than me. You know, those kind of things like, hey, I watched you back, or I read this article that you did back in 1990, whatever. Did you ever think that would be like classic?
No, I really didn't. We used to have this thing though back in the day. It was called Catfish Camp, and we would advertise it through ProCats, which we had the biggest online for the day, biggest online. I don't know how you want to say it. Besides, we had the biggest following online because we had, of course, catfishing.com as our thing. This is before BOC and before all this other stuff, and we were kind of young kids, you know. So we had a lot of people who are just like, "Who do you
Tim,
think
was there
you
even
are?"
YouTube back then? I don't even think YouTube was back then, was it?
No, not even close, Stan. That wasn't even a thought of thing. YouTube, no, there was nothing. Matter of fact, it was message boards, and that was it. But we had a full online magazine that every 3 months came out this like 15 article like groundbreaking stuff written by people that I handpicked, because you had to know your shit, because you could get
Tim, you're gonna laugh.
You know,
you're gonna laugh because I talked to you about bringing that other stuff. Like, you know, when I first talked to you, I said, "Yeah, I'm multi-species. I've caught, you know, this size fish of that and this of that."
Yeah.
But back then, we didn't have big catfish up there, so I used to read those same articles that you're talking about and translate how to catch catfish into catching other species that I was fishing for.
Absolutely.
That's kind of funny, isn't that?
So Spencer Bauer 2 years ago at CatCon said, he goes like this, he goes, "ProCats, that was awesome. All I could do was get in there." He goes, "I was so young, I could just get in there and read the free articles."
Yeah.
And it wasn't like articles cost you anything. You did have to do a paid prescription, because otherwise, I mean, why would I be? I mean, I didn't have enough time just to
Right.
So I had to do this, and you get a hat, and you get a whole subscription base. But he's like, yeah, I just got on the free stuff and read that. That was kind of cool. If Spencer Bauer's saying that, that's kind of cool. Even though he doesn't translate respect real well.
Well, you know, Tim, you started something here. Let me go back up to Freddie. There's been a ton of comments. I apologize. I've missed a bunch of them. We've got 36 awesome, like-minded people out there still listening with us. I hope you know,
and Stan,
everybody that wanted to go. Jody went live at 9.
The best people never log off. They're always on it. That's it. I'm not saying they're better than anybody else, but I'm just saying that's pretty badass. When, you know.
Yeah, exactly, and
Danny Stone.
Danny Stone. You know, Danny Stone and I were brothers that were separated at birth. I'm sure of that. Hey, there's Austin D. Thank you.
There's a dude right there. He's always got something great to say.
And big shout out to him.
People, when they pop in your video stuff, they pop into your live. They've always got something great to say. Nephew Austin D is the man.
Big shout out to him.
There's a lot of other guys like that, but he brings top of my chart because he's always had something to say.
He's doing great. He helped me here on the James. Like he was from around here. He moved further, I think, Northern Virginia, but big shout out to him. He's doing really well now. I've heard a lot of good things about him lately. So I'm really happy for him.
It's pretty obvious he's a great person. I mean, when I mean, when you consistently comment well things, when you consistently go into people's lives and you're doing good stuff, you just, you just begin to know people are good people. That's it. And like I've always said, well, look at you. Here's a good person, and your wife. I mean, pretty much everybody that pops up on that rings in my ear as a good person because Joe Ziegler has always been a supporter. I remember like the first YouTube thing, and nobody knew me at all on YouTube.
Yep.
Joe Ziegler goes in there and says something great.
Yep.
D. Smithy goes in there and says something great. Whatever. Yeah, I mean,
But let's go back to Freddie. I think I cut you off earlier when we were
you did. I
we
have
were
some
running
things about the Freddie rod. Just talk about.
Tim, and I'm sorry, but there was just like boom, there was people showing so much support, and they were dropping $20 here and there. I was just
yeah, absolutely.
Tim, it's just a couple years ago. I'm sitting on my couch and can't get out the front door, and now it's just people will never know what that means to me. That they'll never, you can't understand it. They can't. There's just no.
I understand. I know. Well, let me tell you what Stan's trying to say. Stan cannot say it himself, but he's got a giant heart. He is for the catfish community, not for himself, but for the camaraderie and the thing. Yeah, it's so I should say this. Stan was one of the first guys on a live. He was literally fishing below the falls, and he brought people into his car, and he jammed himself in the car with whoever else he had. It might have even been with one of his kids, and brought him along on the ride. It was, and he had like 19 people looking. Who does that?
They were with me, though. They were with me.
Yeah, absolutely. But remember one thing: there are certain people that are doing it for one reason. There are certain people that are doing it for another reason. I'm not going to just discriminate between the two, but y'all know. So when Stan did that, that's when I decided I was going to talk in this live show if he ever asked me, because he had enough heart to go through the motions of like toughing it out, and then taking people along with him on the ride on a Saturday morning. That was huge heart. So Stan, whether he knows it or not, became one of my friends when I didn't even know him.
Well, and Tim, both of us have got heroes to thank for that, because
Well, of course we do.
I think he was in like our first live, and and then like in our second one, he was like, "Hey, this is Catfish Heroes. I fish with Tim Scott, Epic Cat," and I'm like,
Who?
"Hey, did you hear that?"
Yeah, you said who was it? So I should say this: the first live I was on your show, we were in depth.
Oh yeah.
Talking about catfish nature and catfish biology till 3:30 in the morning. We never stopped. I was in my pajama pants. I went out and smoked a bunch of cigarettes, blah blah blah. It was winter time. I was freezing my tail off, and but yet it was worth it. So anyway, I was like, holy moly, this Stan guy's got he's got great questions. He's got a great presence, blah blah blah. So I stopped on the way back to Sean's, like, they work on semis, right? So you can imagine. So these guys are working on semis, doing their stuff, and I roll in there and I'm like, dude, you got to watch this Stan thing. Not for me, for you. And he put it on like so there's this they're changing oil and beating metal together and doing all the whatever, and he puts it on the regular stereo, and he goes, "Who's Stan?" I go, "Stan 2. It's pretty awesome." And like we talked and we did this stuff. He's like, goes, Stan did an awesome job. And I was like, yeah, you watch. Stan's in it. He's in it. He
Well-
knows. He knows. So anyway, let's get to because I keep seeing Freddie up here, and
Yeah.
I should talk about this Freddie rod.
I should send Freddie the link so he can just come up here with us. You know, that would be the thing.
Do it, because I got some good things to say.
You know, Freddie,
I have not had good things to say about most rods.
You want to jump up here with us, Freddie? I mean, Tim, what was last time? You know, and Freddie's gonna be whatever with this. But you know, I loved CatCon 2023. You know what my best memory was watching you purchase 2 FOA rods because you believed in them.
I haven't bought a rod for 25 years. Man.
Yeah, that was just.
One. I've had a few given to me, and they're pretty good. I've had some sent to me, and they're pretty nice. But I haven't literally bought one in 25 years.
Awesome. All right.
And this is no this isn't any grandstand. This isn't any to make a point, whatever. Because I don't buy something unless I believe in it. I cannot be bought, Stan.
Well, I know that, Tim, and I watched you, like you were kind of walking by the booth, and you kind of looked over and you saw 30-something ounces of weight.
That's right.
Suspended off the rod, and you were kind of like, what?
Yeah.
I was there, you know, thank God that I didn't get to spend much time at Freddie's booth, but that was one of the little bit of time I got to be there, and that was awesome. Let me get the link.
Is Freddie gonna get his ass up here or what?
Yeah, it takes me a second.
You better hurry.
You know me, Tim.
Because I got some great things to say, but they're waning as long as he's on. I'm just kidding.
And Stan 3 is more than welcome to come up also.
I would enjoy Stan 3 up here because I think Stan 3.
Because you know what, Tim? As of right now, I think Stan 3 has caught more 60-pounders on the Freddie rods than anybody else out there. I'm just saying.
All right. I know. But remember one thing: Stan 3 is fishing in a Mecca. So remember that he's fishing in a Mecca. Now, I'm not saying he's not.
Hey.
He is absolutely in his questions and in his mantra and in his epic psychoness is albeit deserving of all that.
Wow.
But do remember this. And we all have to remember this. We all do. If you're fishing the run-of-the-mill across America, cannot expect to have the same success, and that's what I say about myself too.
Tim, that's why my best, you know, that's why I say, you know, it's not the size of the fish, it's the size of the excitement, and you know, go for, you know, and you kind of told me that right from the start. Absolutely. I was blessed to be 15 minutes from the James River, where we can go 15 minutes away and we can catch 50-pounders.
Dude, you live in a destination. I live 4 hours from a destination. Stan 3 lives in a destination. Anybody that lives on the Tennessee River lives next to a destination. So
that's remember,
all of us have to maintain our humbleness and say, okay, we have the privilege of living in like ultimate giant catfish destination and blah blah blah. Now it's what we do with that. It's what we do with that in our track record. Is that you can say something about us. But
Tim, I've got to claim this. Like I had Stan 3 out fishing when he was 3 months old. I'm just saying.
And you can.
I'm sure that had something to do with it.
No, you can 100%. You're the dad. And you know what, Stan? I would say that as a dad, as I have raised a couple of great human beings, great patriots and whatnot, great workers, and they are leaders in their community, leaders in their football teams, and leaders in academics and all this stuff. And your kids are the same.
Hey, Tim, there's nothing, there's nothing, well, let's just bring Freddie up.
Let's bring Freddie up.
Add the stream. Boom, boom, bam. Thank you, Freddie. My brother, my family, I can't say enough good stuff about Freddie. We've kind of been connected through whatever, but
Yep.
So,
and
I would have to say, when I first was privy to Freddie was even there, and I'm not saying it to like tout anything or be Mr. Chicken. I would have to say that I wasn't so sure about Freddie in the beginning because Freddie's got a great personality, he's got a great smile, but he would let people know. But the more I knew Freddie, the more I knew where his heart was. And I'm telling you, that man's got a heart that wouldn't fit in the back of a pickup truck. For all you guys that wanted to know, he is really a great dude.
You're going to make me cry on staying show. That ain't supposed to.
Huh?
You're going to make me cry on staying show. Come on now.
Well, I just think people should know that your persona online is awesome, but the person you are is even better.
And
Thanks,
Stan 3 just wants to remind everybody that the FOA rods are not just good for catching monster catfish. You catch monster flounder on the FOA rods too. Just saying.
Geez, Stan 2, you're like grandstanding me. I'm hoping to catch like 100 and be the first on the freaking thing. No, that's awesome.
I think the race is between. I'm not in it. The race is between you and Stan 3. I'm just saying.
Okay, I'll take that race. But do remember one thing. Remember, win or lose, Stan 3 is kind of like he reminds me of myself a long time ago.
Wow.
So, he's fired up. He's got a thirst for knowledge, and I'm telling you, he puts the time on the water, and that's what counts. Especially when you're a young guy, when you're trying to figure things out, and you're trying to, forge your way into a world that's now full of experts. See, it was easy when I was there. There was no experts. I kind of fell into the expertness just by, I would say fell into it. You had to prove yourself because everybody out there was going to knock the legs out from under you. Trust me on this one. But I would say this. Yeah, I think Stan 3 is more advanced than I was at his age, or at least, yeah, I would say that more advanced because I had certain fairy tales stretched up in my mind that I thought I was going to be able to prove, and I just ended up proving myself wrong a bunch, which actually that's what science is about. Proving yourself right or proving yourself wrong, and the more you can prove yourself wrong, the closer I believe you are to the true story. And look at Freddie. Just look at Freddie. Look at Freddie. He's just sitting there with his muskrat beard, and he's smiling as shit. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I have literally not been excited about a rod in probably 25 years like I have yours. And I heard the scuttlebutt, I heard that the rods are great. I'm like, how great can a channel cat rod be? And then I saw it. And then I was like, yeah, I'll look at it. And then I touched it. Dude, that rod's badass.
Well, thanks, Tim. Again, that's one of the highlights of CatCon this year.
Don't even say that. That rod speaks for itself. I
It
was
does.
aghast before you even put on the 38 ounces and then just like put it off the thing. No. Okay, so before TikTok, before YouTube, before all this stuff, I used to use like kind of channel cat before I have the rods that I do now. I landed some super monsters on some terrible rods. They were long and they were bendy and they were whatever, but I was just like, because most rods were made of like complete garbage. I mean, complete garbage. If they were affordable, it was complete garbage. You know, and affordable for me in my 20s was like 29 bucks. So, I mean, I landed some of those giant flatheads that you've seen in my pictures, like from a long time ago, which I wish I still looked like then. That. But I caught them on complete garbage rods, and I wished, because I lost a lot of giant flatheads and I lost a lot of giant blues on those complete garbage rods. Now, I call them complete garbage because that's all we had affordable or even within our grasp here. Yeah. You know, there really wasn't back in those days. There wasn't an online thing where you could like order anything from Amazon. Amazon didn't exist. So if you imagine a day, which I know you can, when there was no woke establishment where you could just like get online, there wasn't even any online. So you either read it out of the back of a magazine, right next to where you could get the well, Sean just said that to me the other day. He goes, yeah. He goes, back in the magazine where you could like order, guys, like sea monkeys. Remember that shit? Like the weird sea monkey thing, or like the X-ray glasses where you could see girls. That, you can see right through their dress, supposedly, right? Well, you send their you're $7.99, and you don't get back anything. It's just like you can't see anything. So it was the same thing with rods. And so, but this thing that he's got, I went, hold it. Out of all these rod companies, FOA, Freddie, the dude that I know from YouTube that is like starting his own thing, has got the most kick-ass, tiniest rod available anywhere. And I'm not dissing anybody else's rod, but that thing is a monster taker. I'm telling
Freddie,
you.
he's got me cheering up for you, Freddie. He's got me cheering for you. Okay,
dude. I mean, and were you and I like super big friends before this? No, we weren't. I like Freddie. But that rod impressed me so much because I could literally see myself catching an 80-pound flathead on a freaking sunken barge, or I could see that thing like absorbing the impact on an 80-pound or 100, even. And I told you, I will land a 100-pounder off that. Now, granted, I'll have to put a coffee can reel on like this big on this tiny ass rod. But I love the short butt on it, because we don't have to like lean over the boat, and because if you fall where I'm at, you're gonna die. Yeah, that's it. I mean, unless you have your life jacket on, and you still might die. But anyways, it'll be easier to get out of the rod holder. And then I just want to see the impact of that. Okay, so Freddie, tell me the science on your rod.
Well, let's see. The makeup is a 26-ton carbon fiber composite mix. It's basically what they make saltwater jigging rods out of.
Okay.
So they're made for big fish, big waters, because that's what they go for. Same style rod, a little bit different length and a little bit different composite makeup is what they go for Goliath grouper with. Jigging for Goliath grouper and amberjack, so it's made for. But a lot of people in the catfish community really don't know about carbon fiber.
Yep.
They know about E-glass, S-glass, and fiberglass.
Yep. Yep.
So that's part of one of those challenges is getting them to know about it, and then a lot of people want to take a carbon fiber rod and play around with it and grab it and at the tip and bend it. Well, it'll snap because carbon fiber,
Sure.
like S-glass, you got to let the rod load up.
Sure.
But once it loads up, it will handle twice the pounds per inch than an S-glass rod will.
And that's what I'm liking because okay, so before I saw your rod, I was not convinced on anybody's rod on like super short order. And if well, I assume you watch my 130-pound monster video where
Yep.
I say this is like a grouper. This could be all day. I mean, basically 45 minutes, an hour, and I've been through this before. And so that's why I have the ancient rods that I do, because the rods that I have are made for that situation. That whole super 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 mile an hour current, giant fish, big blah, 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 giant baits. It's like grouper rod. Well, I would prefer, and I've told this to many people, I literally hate dealing with those big, I mean, the butts are not the handles, but just, sorry, I guess I'm really ugly here, but just the, where it goes into the handle is like bigger than a 50-cent piece. They are literally grouper rods. And,
Yep.
and I don't like those rods I don't like them for casting. I don't like them for flatheads. I don't like them. I would never use the rods that I use for, the giant megas down there, for anything else except for giant blues, because they're just not great. But if that rod that I bought from you, those two rods, if I can put those in a down rod position and like land 100-pounders without it bowing to the handle, because that's the important part. I need like the last third to bow, not the whole thing. Because if the whole thing bows, they'll get me on the bottom of my my horrible boat that has jumped rocks and whatever. Because as a down rod, it's awesome unless they can control me. If they can control me from butt handle down, it looks good on video, fine. But I only want that last third,
Yep.
or maybe 40% to bow. And if that rod that you've got that I just bought, if it performs that well on even a 70 or 80, I'll be dancing a jig. I'll be like, me and Heroes would be like, we'll be dancing a jig because he kept it off the bottom of the boat, and it's awesome. And we get there. So that'll be the first channel cat looking rod I've ever had land giant, except for like I did have some channel cat rods that were like super long. They were like 7'11". But you couldn't really land fish like we did.
Well,
okay,
Tim, all I've got to say.
So the difference. Hold on, Stan, because I got to tell the audience the difference. The difference is these days I am of the opinion that I need to land fish within a certain amount of time, so that by the time I get them in the boat, by the time I release them, they are green as green gets. Now, almost anybody with luck can like fight a fish that is like 50, 60 pounds in 30, 40, 45 minutes, wear them out so bad that when they come in the boat, they don't want to. But if you notice ours, they want to slap you in the face. They want to roll you. They want to kill you. They're still green. They're still, and that's my important point. So if your rods will let me land a giant 50 or better up into that boat take some pictures, maybe slap Heroes, maybe slap me, maybe slap you in the balls, and then you can release it, and it still wants to twist you in half. That's the key.
Hey, Tim, this rod is going to allow you to get your other tooth knocked out. I'm just saying.
Yes. I may have to have false teeth, like all of them, after this season, because I already priced the bottom one because the top one got knocked fully out by the next day. It was the second one fell out like 3 days later. It was like the whole thing went tink tink, and so now, who knows? So, Freddie, how in the world did you think this ain't a channel cat rod, Tim? Stan 3 said, you're right. It's not. It looks like one, though. It literally looks, in my world, it literally looks like a Snoopy rod.
It does.
It does. In my world, it looks, you know what it looks like? In my world, it looks like you brought a penknife to a giant gunfight. And I love that. I do.
The whole concept was for kids and kayak anglers because there wasn't nothing out there for them originally, But we wanted a big fish rod so the kids and kayak anglers could do what the big rods do on the boat in a little rod. So that was the whole concept behind it. Well, it's turned into these are a lot of people's go-to for suspending baits now.
It got bigger now because I'm going to suspend about 36 ounces of weight and a donkey bait the size of your face on it.
And you will be able to do that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, Freddie. Did you have...
Well, hold on, Freddie. Hold on.
Did you literally have those at CatCon?
There you go, Freddie.
No, I actually picked this up at Cabela's the other day. So instead of having a bunch of 4-ounce weights on it.
Okay. I was going to say, if you had it at CatCon, I'd have probably bought some for you.
Wait, at CatCon, Freddie, you had what, like 6 ounces on there?
It ended up being, I think, a couple 4 ounces, 2 or 3 5 ounces, 2 or 3 6 ounces, just all balled up in a big ball, and it ended up being 38 ounces that we hung off the rods.
But hung off the rod, it was only about 20% of that rod that was even buckled.
Yep.
It wasn't from the handle down. That's what's impressive. And so when anybody's looking at a rod, and it depends on what, if you're a channel cat fisherman, fine. If the rod buckles from a little bit to the handle down. If you're a flathead fisherman, you don't want that rod to buckle from the reel seat like over hard because you don't have any control. Now, you don't want to, if you're a flathead guy and you're fishing at like a mid-range, mid-sized river, fine. You can deal with that however you want. But as a blue cat fisherman, in like low current being 8 or 9 miles an hour or even 6 or 7, you don't want to give up any of that control because otherwise they're like, then you can't steer them at all. Then they're under the boat. The line's on the bottom of the boat, and they've already went this way if you can't steer them. And y'all know, if you've been watching anybody's videos that catch like gigantic blues in any sort of fast current, that you don't really want to give that control up. Now you can. Yeah. You can be. You can be a 50% fisherman all you want if you don't mind them getting busted off. Oh. What's Freddie? Put Freddie full screen. What the hell's going on here? Freddie's like demonstrating some stuff. This is sorry, but it's kind of like catfishing porn here.
That's 32 ounces. That's 32 ounces.
That's what I'm talking about. Look at that channel cat rod holding 36 inches up. 36 ounces up.
So there's the bin.
I can actually say in real life conditions, we've had 20-something ounces. We've suspended 20-something ounces in real life conditions.
And these little rods are rated for 8 ounces. That's a suggested rated by what we put on it from the manufacturers and stuff like that. But
And
Jeez Louise. So that is some epic shit right there.
and Freddie, the slogan of the rod came from stand 3.
It did. It sure did. And the slogan is, it ain't the size of the rod, it's how you use it.
I may
You know,
change that.
you got to, if people would just do let the rod do its job, any rod will work. If they'll let the rod do its job, you don't want to have the rod fighting a fish straight up down like this, because where's all your pressure on that rod at the tip? You're not letting the rod do the work. You're actually you're putting too much tension on the rod that way. When you're fighting a fish, you
So
should
Freddie, that is called high sticking.
you should
Nobody that
only
is
be about
big
45%.
catfishman savvy ever high sticks.
Yep.
We all know.
45 degrees should be the highest you go with that rod whenever you're fighting a fish.
JG Hill Studio, I do believe I may throw that a little bit because I think it can handle it. And just
Yes.
I may throw 3 pounds on it. But yes, that is my intent.
And
is to drop
JG,
it
we
down.
have actually casted. I don't want people to get confused. Like what you see there is suspending.
Can you see? There's 16 right there. That's what I cast with it in the river.
Yeah, there you go.
You cast 16 with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've casted. We right now are talking about suspending, but we have casted weights. Freddie, what we've been doing with it lately is actually using it with boards, like with anchored up with boards out, and it's great. It's great for boards also as well.
Freddie, am I going to take 3 pounds and put an epic cast on it? Is it going to snap right on my live show?
That I don't know.
Okay.
Like I said,
I'm going to put it to the test because you know me.
Well, I know.
Oh yeah. I'm not going to try to break it. I'm just going to try to do what I do.
Yeah. Now, when I cast the 16 ounces, I'm not trying to launch it. I'm just doing a small rainbow cast.
And I never try to launch 16 ounces either.
Yeah.
It's only 8 to 10 that I actually launch, plus the bait, which will put it into about the 2 pound range.
Now,
but I'm not going to try. I'm not going to try to take that thing and like ultra snap it because I'm not dumb. I'm not. I'm not going to try to ultra snap it. I'll ultra snap my 7'10" rods, which are like grouper rods, basically.
Yeah.
Fine. But when you have a rod like that, I really think that if we tackle onto it like an 80 pound or 100 pound or 130, I've literally had 130s or 125s hit right below the boat.
Yep.
Like that. Like on that traditional stuff where it's got 24 ounces of weight, it's got a 2.5 pound bait. That stuff is like 3 foot off the bottom, and look the hell out. Remember, out of 25 years, I've only been doing YouTube for 2. Ha!
But yeah, Big Mike was another one that bought one of the rods. He actually bought a 5 foot and went out on Ohio at CatCon I believe it was Friday night or Saturday night. He was casting, I think, 5 or 6 ounces with a big old gizzard shad head or something like that, big around with 8 or 10 aught hooks, and was launching it.
Nice.
During his live. So I
can believe that because
I know between 4 and 6 ounces you can launch it just like a regular rod. The heavier weights, I wouldn't recommend trying to launch them, but the little rainbow cast to get them out a little bit. But yeah, yep.
Well, it's just
I
like
do believe that rod.
Any of the longer rods, like if it.
But I think that
Go ahead,
rod,
Epic.
no matter what, will outperform its expectation because its expectation is small and its performance is huge. I mean, I'm a believer without even using it, but we will see.
Yep.
We will see, Freddie.
I'm excited.
and Stan 3 says it like our normal everyday situations, we're using 8 ounces of weight, let's say anywhere from 6 to 10, and then good size head, good size pieces of bait, and casting 12 ounces, no problems. Did it a bunch. Uh, you know, it it's it's used a lot for suspending because of the size of it. It allows you to drop that bait right down next to the boat, right down underneath the boat, where a lot of times if you're sitting there anchored up, those fish will relate to that as a piece of cover. Believe it or not, like they'll come up underneath that boat. And if you're casting rods out, that suspending rod, that down rod, is your only piece of bait between what you casted out and up current, up river to your boat. So a lot of times they'll get that scent and they'll come up river. They'll come up current to your boat, to your bait that's right underneath the boat. And we've had
I'm
that
not
happen
gonna
a
go
lot of
there,
times.
Stan.
But you
I'm
can
not
use
gonna
it
go
for
there.
what's that?
I said I'm not gonna go there
Uh-oh.
as a boat as overhead cover. I'm just not, especially in anything less than about 8 or 10 foot of water. 8 or 10 foot of water, I kind of would tend to believe that, but anything more than that, no. I would think that at some point in my life I might have thought about that, but I'm not willing to go there now.
Well, as far as relating to the boat,
No.
yeah, well, no. For the deeper water, obviously, it's the scent that's coming down between your baits.
Yes.
They'll come
Yes.
upriver. But if you're fishing shallower, yeah, they could relate to the boat.
Could be, because there is a factor of shade, and we all know one thing: no matter what, all 3 species have some of the greatest night vision, probably just a little bit under that of walleye. And so shade is a big thing. But a boat in anything more than about 20 foot casts a shadow of about 3 foot wide, maybe. Just say it's 20 foot long and 8 foot wide, like mine. Maybe cast a shadow 3 foot wide and probably 12 foot long. But you are not there long enough for the simple brains of catfish to actually key on that, because they do not. So let's be careful. Stan, they don't bounce as much as other rods. Oh, yeah, of course they don't. That's one of the things that I did like about that rod. You could tell, because I fish a lot of stuff that is like heavy seas. Matter of fact, it's so heavy seas, when my rod got ripped off the back of the boat and I put it onto TikTok, there was probably 50% of the people who thought that, oh, you were drifting. I'm like, no, I was anchored. They're like, oh, there had to be like a log that kind of came along the bottom and like ripped it off. I'm like, no, it really wasn't, because the current is way faster than the pull.
Tim, that had to be
so
the. I should say that had to be the biggest rod. I've seen other rods, get launched out and stuff. But that rod probably went 20, 30 feet downriver before it
exactly
hit the
it
water.
did, because otherwise I would have been able to snag it with that second rod. But it flew so far in the air that it clipped the next rod where it went into the water. And that was a long way. Because, I mean, okay, so if you're fishing slow water, so your rods are here and your line is like this at maybe 45-degree angle. Mine, when I fished that area, are probably 78 or 90 degree. Sorry, 240 degree, 240 degree, and you would think that you could just, oh no, it freaking shotgunned out of there like nobody's business. But that was pretty much the last time I decided that Superline was the thing. I spent a whole bunch of money on Superline before that, and I tore it all off and I threw it all away because the Superline, in its propensity to bury in the spool and not let the freaking drag do what it's supposed to do. And it literally ripped the rod holder off the boat and it flung into the water so fucking far. Sorry.
It's all right.
You know. So, Freddie.
Yeah.
How in the hell did you think so far outside the box you came up with such a tiny rod that has such like Superman qualities?
Well, again, it all started with CatCon last year, 2022, being there as a YouTuber first time. And again, not seeing any rod out there that was made for a kid, and rare, and only one or two out there that was made for kayak anglers. And, so little old Freddie's mind started spinning. I need to make something smaller, something more compact, but can still handle those big fish that people want to catch. And so that's where the rod butt got shorter. We got the diameters. I think it's 1.25 inches round versus the 1 3/4 that the big rods are. So it's a lot smaller, easier for smaller hands to grab a hold of. The only thing that if I did have to change on it was maybe add an additional inch of handle above the reel seat, because it's only 3 inches above. But with that reel seat being reversed with the nuts up top instead of down low, you've still got that grip spot.
Oh.
So you still got that handle there.
Dude, I'm going to tell you, the first time somebody catches like a freaking 120 with that, there's going to be like a billion questions. Yeah. I'm gonna have to field questions till I'm tired of it. And I'm not, I like fielding questions, but that one right there is going to be like crazy town. Be like,
Well,
what kind of rod was that? I'm like, well, it was actually a bluegill rod. That was one I would like catch channel cats, or like a. So, have you had anybody use the longer ones for like a drifting rod or a bumping rod or any of that? Freddie?
There's a couple guys. Well, I don't know if Stan 3's been doing it, but I know a couple of our testers are kayak guys, and they actually used them to bump.
Yeah, I'll bet.
I use it every time I'm live. I'm kind of what I call it suspend bumping. Like I kind of got a Freddie rod, and Stan 3 hates it because I got a loose speed cast, which is basically the same thing as a Pisky Fun, and it's got a big paddle handle on it. And he doesn't like it because it's not a power handle, and Stan 3 is all about power and rah. He's that young guy, but I got it with me every time.
Stan,
you may never see it. I've got it. I'm suspend bumping. I've got it drifted right down, and I'm bumping on it. And the reason that I like the loose speed cast or the Pisky Fun, it's got a thumb release on it. So I'm constantly keeping it in touch with the bottom. A bunch of people ask for Stan 3 to come up. There you go. There's the Pisky Fun right there.
Yep, that's 40.
Stan 3 is right, Stan. And I'm telling you, I would literally drift with moment 100 plus.
What?
Where I fish, bit on any rod that I have in the boat that is of a Pisky Fun 50 caliber. That would be horrible. And I'm telling you, and how I know this is because the Abu Garcia 7000s, I don't want. No, I've done it. I do not want a 7,000. I definitely don't want a 6,500, which is like a thimble spool. It's like this. No, But I don't hate 6500s on flatheads, even in the big river, even 80-pound flatheads. I don't mind a 6500. I don't mind. Oh my God! But I don't want a PC Fun 50 on the Mississippi River because I'm gonna be like, oh my God, like this. No, it's bad. I want a big giant cranking handle like this because my objective is to actually see that fish. I don't want it to just
Hey,
like
it's all
burn
about
off
the
as I'm
excitement,
going,
dang it.
what? My bait is bigger than a 6500 or a PC 150. Holy crap. I could like cover 3 of those.
Wow.
Okay, so all of you that have a shot glass at home, this is what a like a 6500 is. You go, no, it's not good. It's just not good.
Oh, Big Wrench,
No,
why ain't there a hook
I've had
keeper
to
on
do
it?
it. It's painful. It's painful for me and it's painful for the fish. Trust me. Because you're like, oh my God, I'm like 55 minutes in. And when they start stripping like 25-pound test in, because you can't even put 50 on that, or you only have like 35
30
yards.
yards.
And you're like, oh. And remember, that thing is.
I gotta mute myself again tonight. I'm having so much fun tonight.
Hey, I'm not saying anything, but maybe like the Barbie Home Shop has a 6500. But you know, like the no. I've caught giant fish on 6500s, trust me, but it's painful. It's very painful. It's painful for everyone
Oh
involved.
my
Matter
God,
of fact, I had a
Stan3
film
hates
crew one
that
time,
reel.
and
He
I locked
hates
into a 75-pound fish on like a 7-foot-6 freaking thing you bought from like Farm King, and I had like a Walmart 6500, and even the film crew was like, "Oh my God, when is this gonna like actually appear?" I'm like, well, yeah, I can't put any pressure to it. Can't. We might have to chase it down.
But Big Wrench asked why there wasn't a hook keeper on the rods. Again, it's a 5-foot and 6-foot version, so we figured you didn't need a hook keeper. That
Well,
the rod.
with a 6500, you can't even set the hook on those things. Well, it can't be a 6-aught or more, or like it's gonna like rip drag immediately. And it's gonna like run away.
oh man, y'all are killing me tonight.
I'm on your side, Stan. I'm on your side. You seen what I got?
I've had a 20-pounder in current act like a big giant, like a spinnerbait like this. Boom, boom. It took me 20 minutes to get that thing in with a 6500 on Walmart casting rod, like back in the old HT days. It was horrible. A 20-pounder below the Missouri River. I thought about up anchoring. It was bad.
Oh, Tim, Stan3 is so much like you. It's ridiculous. Like we've got the rods in the boat.
Was burnt by the sun so bad it was purple, and I just couldn't wait till it was over. I'm like, what? Why am I not having fun on this thing?
Wait, we keep the rods in the boat. Like he keeps them in there because we don't know. Like we could, a half hour ago we say, nah, we're not going. A half hour later we're like, all right, we're going.
Yeah.
That one, my reel that I love, my one rod, it's at the very bottom of all.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't like them, you put them at the bottom of the fence.
I can't bring it out till we've got everything else casted out.
So I got to tell you a story. So when I used to have clients, I did it for like 15 years. They'd bring their rods and reels, and I'm not saying I was a dick, but I kind of was. I would look at their like 733 hogs that they just bought from Walmart, and they're really proud of it. And I'm like, yeah, probably not. Probably not. They're like, Oh, they got 2 or 3 rods, and they get out of their pickup trucks, and they get. I'm like, nah. I'm like, I'm sorry, but no, it's your 808s and your whatever high tech, whatever. No. And they'd be like, well, how come? Because I guarantee, Fish. I said, if we latch into a giant flathead and your stuff fails, I'm like, yeah, your 20-pound test's not really going to work. Yeah. I'm like, nope, just keep that for your trips, not mine.
Oh, Freddie, I apologize that I put my crappy reel on your awesome rod.
Well, it is what it is.
It's okay, Stan. I mean, you can stick with the Pisky Fun little real woman. Oh,
yeah,
man.
I know Freddie's with me, but everybody else apparently is against me.
I don't want. I guess I don't want to tell Tim I had a Zebco 33 on it with 30-pound mono and caught a 30-pounder on it the other week.
Oh, we lost Tim. Tim's gone. Epic gone.
Yeah, you lost me. You lost me, but I will say this.
Oh my goodness!
I was fixing to show you the reel. I was going to put on the Freddie rod, but of course, whatever I have cannot stay in its same place. My wife has to move it. She just has no choice. It just has to get moved. Whatever. But anyway, Freddie, it's gonna be pretty much the most ridiculous thing you've ever seen.
I'm ready to see it because I know what size reels you're talking about.
Yeah,
they're just bigger.
It's dumb. Like, let's see. Maybe I can find something. This can of diced tomatoes like this, it's going to be bigger than that. It's going to be like that on the smaller. I have never coupled ever one time a reel this big on a rod that small, and that's awesome.
Oh,
wow.
Man.
I feel like a jackass right now.
Now, I'm not saying it's this big, but it's pretty darn close. Because the crank, yeah, it's almost.
What's up, Mark?
Well, thank you, Steve. This is
The show started out with Stan crying and tearing up. Now he can't stop laughing.
But yeah, it's going to be done. And not only that, the reel's going to be giant, but the bait is going to be even bigger than the reel. Unless they tell me different. I mean, you got to listen to the fish, whatever. But I might take something that, is like maybe like a big sweatshirt if you just like mash it all together and get all wet, and then maybe you cut something off. It's going to be big.
Well, I was when I was in Kentucky right before CatCon, I was out fishing with J-Dog, and I actually threw a 8-pound carp head, the head of an 8-pound carp, on one of my big jumbo spooks,
right,
and 6 ounces of lead. And
but was the marks telling you should?
No, but I was doing it anyway.
All right, you can do it just out of fun. But if the marks ain't telling me, I don't. If the marks, if I have like school buses and freaking manatees and shit running around, yeah, you darn right, I'm gonna throw some gas bait.
But Tim, boom, boom, bam. We're laughing and we're joking and we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What you said right there is a really big. You're known for throwing the donkey baits, but you do that in certain situations.
Yeah.
And that's what you're searching for. You're searching for those fish that you're in those situations. You're throwing those. However, you don't throw those until the situation tells you, or the fish is telling you. Like that's what I think a lot of people get wrong.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. They do. Now, if all I'm seeing is giants, I'm actually better off throwing like a respectably small bait, which is probably about, I do not throw like stuff that is like this, like this big around, like it would barely fish in a catcher's mitt. But if I am seeing some stuff, like just say I turn my gain up,
Mhm.
and I see a lot of 25s and 30s, which is actually rare where I'm at. Yeah, we don't see a lot of those, but every once in a while you go into a basin hole, it's like 45, 50 foot deep, and
Mhm.
you'll see the majority
No,
of
that's
the
what your son said.
biomass being 25, 30. Then I'll upsize to like sometimes the size of a hat, like that.
Yeah.
But I don't, jeez, but I don't normally do that unless I think that I need to prevent what I feel is small fish 40 and above and below.
Yep.
That because I have so little time. Don't get me wrong. I don't turn my nose up at 20s and 30s, but I do know one thing. When you are in a biomass of fish, let's just say all of them have congregated below a wing dike, they're running around and blah blah blah. And I have too many 20s and 30s to present themselves to eat my normal baits that you could fit in the palm of your hand.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste my valuable short time on reeling those in. Now, it's not because I don't like them, it's because those fish will waste my valuable time because big fish are more patient than that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very few times when I feel like I've put like a normal respectable bait, which may be only the size of this, in front of a couple of big catfish. I believe that small catfish are running around and doing that before the big ones do. Because most of the time I put a gigantic bait and I place it in front of gigantic fish that I've marked, there is a certain amount of tap that I have to deal with, and I believe those are to be smaller fish. And I think they give up on them, and then finally, after 5 to 12 to maybe even 20 minutes, finally the big fish that are there finally decide to eat the big baits because
Well,
I I I I I, I I've just been around it long enough. I've seen what happens. I know what happens in tanks. I know that the big fish they just don't have to eat that much. So are they really on to, even though big giant fish you would think would be aggressive, they are when they want to be.
Yeah.
But they don't have to be most of the time. So they'll let the little fish eat. They'll let the little fish run amok. And I've been able to prove this to myself enough to have confidence in it enough that I've been able to be successful enough. Can I write it as a law? Hell no.
no.
But I still believe in it, and I still know, and it actually pays off to me more than I've seen, well, anybody else that I know so far. Now, am I willing to keep my mind open? Hell yeah. Am I willing to take a Freddie rod and drop it in the front of a freaking school bus that's running underneath my 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 fish finder, and it's showing me a 4-inch fish with a hard red, big yellow, and hard cobalt blue on the outside? You darn right I am, because that thing might go down like a ton of bricks. And that's what I'm all about. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what I say. Well, I don't care what I said today or tomorrow. If if I see something tomorrow, when I put that shit down there and I see a freaking school bus freaking break all my rules, I don't care if it's all my rules. I'll be like, tomorrow I'll be putting out a TikTok or a YouTube and be like, well, this is what I thought yesterday. And now I'm kind of convinced that the mammoths have moved in and just like, if I see evidence of it, I'm going to tell them.
I'm gonna say that.
But we all better hope that Freddie's rod, when that shit does go down, that it better not snap.
It better not.
Well,
There hadn't been one
Better
yet.
not snap.
look, Freddie, I am personally going to put my reputation out there. It will not.
Stand. And
And I can base that on what we've done so far. I mean, Epic, you're kind of laughing, and Freddie's kind of like, "Oh my God, what did he just say?" We put these rods.
But do remember one thing: Sean and I are not zeros. We will not like set the hook like Jolly Green Giant and run to the front of the boat and expect the rod.
Listen,
It's going
Epic. Listen, we twisted the eyes.
I know.
We twisted the eyes. We did.
Yeah.
We didn't put this on video, but just so everybody out there knows, like when Freddie, we did not take this like, oh, Freddie's gonna, Freddie sent us the rods, so we got to make these look good. No, we tried to make these fail. We tried to like twist the rod. We tried to twist the reels off the reel seat. We tried to twist the eyes. We tried to like, how far can we bend it and all this stuff. We did all that stuff off camera.
So
I mean, probably
anybody at home that wants to know, I bought them. Freddie did not offer me anything for them to do any of this shit, but I am going to put them to the test. So we'll see. We'll see this season, and it's going to be a great thing. It's either going to be the greatest thing ever, or you're going to see some shit snap, and there'll be like 1,000 comments.
Nope.
Why didn't you
Freddie cry?
All right. Well, here we go. Right here, we have it. We've got Epic against Stand 2. It's either going to snap or you're going to get a hundo. I am betting on the hundo. I have got my full faith in the FOA rods because I know that I did everything I could to break those, and I couldn't.
It has been a little bit. It's been at least 3 seasons since I caught a hundo plus on a down rod. But we caught 2 hundreds on one anchor on 2 down rods in 2007. And one was like, can't even say. It was in the 1.5, 100 plus 50 pound class on a down rod. And it was kind of miserable because it was a semi-graphite rod, and it kind of bent from the butt. And the dude that I had on the rod was like mad at the other guy. He's like, I can't believe you put this rod down, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, geez. Yeah, he was right. I gave him a serious test. I had all the eyes buried on a takedown. I trust these rods with everything. Well, that I believe the rod from the thing that I saw. I did.
Yep.
We'll see. I think
we will see. Like it, Epic. You can agree with me that these are like, for most of the smaller rods, it's been like, oh, this is an ice fishing rod, or this is like the dock runners or the dock demons.
I didn't see it as that. I saw the little tiny one as that, but I didn't see that. I didn't see the longer one like that. I saw it as a perfect freaking down rod, or maybe even a flathead rod. So we'll all see, because I'm going to put them through their paces. Because if you really want to know what your rod is, throw them in my boat, because I'm freaking horrible. Horrible. Look at Freddie. He's laughing so hard you can't even hear him on the thing.
I'm still in awe of the whole,
Don't get all.
of
I
the
think you
rod.
invented one of the smallest, most impressive rods on the market. Because I've literally had them all in my hand.
Tim, let's just go through this. Freddie was like over the hill when I said, "Hey, stand 2 is like, I believe in these rods. I'm happy." Then he shed tears when stand 3 was like, "Hey, look, I caught a couple of 60-pounders on these. Here's the videos. Here's proof of how much I believe in these rods." And then when Epic bought these rods at CatCon and said, then he was like, so we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. But I believe there will be a hundo caught on these rods.
Well, if you want 100 caught on your rods, put it in my boat. Sorry, I'm really not that much of a dick, but kinda I can be.
But yeah, we're excited this year because we put out a video yesterday doing the hundo hunt this year from now to December 15th for the first person that catches a 100-pound blue or a 70+ pound flathead or a 35+ pound channel cat on it. We got some prize packs for each one of those categories.
Am I winning a new truck? Tell me I'm winning a new truck.
No, not a new truck.
Okay. So what's your prize package?
Well, I can't give it all away, but it'll be some rods, some FOA rods, some FOA.
I'll tell you what, and Freddie, seriously, I want you, if I do catch 100 on your rod, I want you to donate it back to the catfish community, and I want it to be big. I don't want it, but I will put that stuff everywhere, whatever, and it doesn't really matter. But I want you to put that back to the catfish community because I think I got a pretty good shot at it. Even in the next 2 years, this season, next season, I think a fish over 100 pounds is huge. But I don't want it for me. I want it for everybody else. And I don't care how you split it up. I don't care how you do. Just do something great for the community.
And
it is what it is.
Epic, boom, boom, bam. 2 stance fishing. We will go along with that. If it is you or if it is us that gets that hundo, gets that big fish on that, we want the same thing.
Do some stuff for some people that really, really, really care, and people that don't have the luxury of what Stan and I do as far as fishing big fish waters. Do some stuff great for them.
Okay.
There ain't no virtue signal. I believe in that. Because you know what? I have passed up state records. I have passed up world records. Because they do nothing for me.
That's it. Stan 3 says he doesn't want. He just wants the FOA shirt.
Are we making a challenge on this?
He might be. He might be. Hey,
says that's it. Epic acts like I'm not gonna catch it first. I'm hooking the boat up now. Oh, Stan 3. So, what I should say to you is that I do hope you do catch it before me. But if I use my entire what do we call that? It's not really a Star Wars thing. It's not really the I would say if I used my epic crazy town stuff, if I had the luxury, which I really don't, because now I'm all wifed up and kidded up and blah blah blah. But if I use my old catfish psychoness, no, No, you would not win. Because I am prepared to do things that would make Billy Goats puke. And I would stay as long as there is to stay on the water and blah, blah, blah. But no, seriously, you know what? Stan 3, I love your enthusiasm. And you know what? You're just as likely to catch one as I am. I was just joking, before. Or maybe,
Hey, and
or,
you know what?
or maybe not.
Tim, like you said, we've been blessed. And we started out with we had lose $25 combos from Walmart and
yeah.
Ugly sticks and this and that, and that's how we started out. And we've been blessed. Uncle Lou really helped us step up our game, and he's really
Uncle Lou's back.
most of the rods you see, we've been Uncle Lou since then, and now Freddie. Freddie, I can't thank you enough for what you've done for us.
Well, I got to give a shout out to Uncle Lou as well, because Uncle Lou was the biggest helper I had with my rods.
Yeah.
Starting out, I sent him my designs and everything, and he gave me all my feedback and helped me get connected with my manufacturer. So, huge shout out to Uncle Lou.
And I've got no problem promoting both of those rods, because everybody out there has seen us caught. By us, I mean Stan 3. By us catching monsters, I mean Stan 3. Although you did see me catch one. You all saw me catch one 222-pound sturgeon on an Uncle Lou rod. I'm just saying.
Oh yeah.
And that was a medium action. I'm just saying. But anyways, Stan 3 has caught most of our monsters on Uncle Lou rods. Lately, you've seen him catch a ton of them on the Freddie rods. Those are what we use. Those are what we believe in, because we've actually used them. We've actually caught big fish on those.
Let me remind Stan 3 of one thing, though. When the James River record was 36 pounds, I went there in 3 days and caught a 70. Oh, so just remember that. I know he's just having fun, and so am I. But that's what I'm telling you. When you understand what you will understand, and you are, old Stan 3 is pretty badass. But do remember this.
What the hell, son? What? I landed it. What are you trying to say?
But yeah, when the whole state record is 36, but anyway, that doesn't make a man. What makes a man is the fact that Stan 3 was asking questions, and he is a roughshod psycho. He goes out there day in, day out with the kayak and the tiny boats and all this stuff. And that is what, it's the journey, it's the adventure, it's all that stuff. And I'm telling you, my hat is off to all those guys. It is. And Stan 3 is some of the top.
Yeah.
Some of the top.
Yeah. And Tim, you said that from day one. Like when I said, the first time we talked, I was like, oh my God, I'm talking to Epic Catfish, I'm talking to Tim Scott. And I was like, yeah, but Tim, we don't, we are just starting to do this. Like, sure. As far as multi-species, like, yeah, we've caught big, bluegill, crappie, perch, pike, everything. We've caught big fish in that, but, we're in the James River. Like, we've never done this before. Like catfish. Yeah, we've caught channel cats and bullheads, but, as far as, monster.
It's the personal journey.
Oh man, it was awesome. And you were right. Like you were like, yeah, you kind of chuckled at me and you were like, yeah, just wait. It's you're like, it just started. And that's kind of what I've said to the people that I've kind of, tried to teach along the way. And I said,
So what is the best in
Just
life?
wait.
It is actually the large heart that wins. It's the huge heart that wins, Stan. You know it. So does Freddie. It's the big heart that wins.
Yep.
It's the fact that you don't give up. It's the thing. It doesn't matter if anybody's done anything better or bigger or whatever than you in the past or will never do any. It is not that. It is all of what you do on your own journey.
You know what, Tony Harrison, I can't.
Tony Harrison, it's real. This isn't no joke. Get that rod in your hand and then put it to the test. It ain't no joke. I'm telling you. I've dealt with a lot of rods, a lot of things, a lot of whatever. I've never seen such a tiny little freaking minuscule rod perform like that. I was like, what? It's fucking crazy.
And I can't thank Tony enough. Like when we were late a couple weeks ago, and Tony picked up the mic and he went live on his channel and did the two stands fishing rain delay, and he was just absolutely amazing. Watch out for Tony Harrison. He is just I can't thank him enough for being such a huge part of two stands fishing, especially stand day. He's been fishing with us for, oh my gosh, a while now. And you never know what size fish he's got out in the trunk of his car. I'm just saying.
So Stan, I should talk to your son a little bit. He's the is he still in the chat?
Oh yeah, stand 3's there.
All right.
Tim, stand 3 is always there. Like
okay.
If you're talking, stand 3 is listening. You know what I'm saying?
All right. So remember one thing, stand 3. No matter how good you think you are and how many giants you've ever caught, and I'm talking about myself here, I'm always of the perspective that there are guys that have never set foot on social media. There are guys that have never set foot in magazines, television, or anything else. There's always been better men. I wouldn't say better men, but guys that knew their shit even more than I do. I might talk a big, fast game and argue this or argue that. I'll be like, well, yeah, I'll catch a 100-pounder before you ever will. No. That is not the truth. What the truth is that as soon as you think you're top of the game, somebody out there will like leg sweep you and go, oh yeah, well, I was catching them, blah, blah. It may be true, it may be not true. But remember one thing, there's guys out there that are badass catfishermen. You just don't see them.
Yep.
I know that for a fact. And I have learned from some of those guys. Although they will try to tell you like the wrong truth. Some of them will. And there's a lot of guys that have caught bigger fish than I have, and you will never see those on the record books. You won't even see a picture, but I know it to be true. But my hat's off to them. But I do hope that stand 3 is one of those that I could be like,
well,
I knew that kid when he was first learning, he caught a 180-pounder.
Tim, that's the difference. Just as Steve Douglas today, he put a post out trying to do, you were the third induction in the Golden Whiskers Hall of Fame. Steve Douglas is doing a Hall of Fame for 2024 for the Catfish Conference. And I'm sure you'll make it into that also. But point I'm trying to make is that we all appreciate those that come before us. And we can't thank you all enough that are willing to, like you had said before, like years ago, you'd put out a little bit of information. But nowadays we've got YouTube, and thanks to people like you that are willing to talk to us and you can shave years and years and years off of our learning curve.
But remember
So
one thing,
thank you, thank
Stan,
you, thank you.
I am literally rooting for you and your sons and everyone else in this thing. I hope y'all catch like a 180-pound blue. I hope you do. I hope you I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah,
I don't need to be the guy that caught the biggest this or the biggest that. I need to be the guy that caught the biggest for myself. But
all I
for
hope is
everybody.
I hope I'm the guy that said that whoever catches the hundo on the Freddie rod, I'm like, I hope I'm the guy that they said, yeah, I saw the Freddie rod on your show and I got it and I caught the 100-pound. That's what would mean something to
I would like to be, but if I'm not, I don't care. I would like clap for anybody who gets 100 on a Freddie rod. I would.
But well, with that being said, Tim, anything else you want to add before we jump out of here?
No, probably not, because there's always tomorrow.
You know what, Tim? And thank you so much. This whole show was supposed to be. I was trying to give you a chance to elaborate on your epic.
I don't need
Oh
to
wait,
do
hold
that.
on. My wife just said something to me.
Oh, D. Smithy.
What?
Dan, you got a great wife, by the way.
I know. Well, she's a pain in my ass, but she loves everybody else. So.
Of course. She treats me better than you, probably.
I did. I just did. There you go. Yes. And of course, I can never claim that I taught him everything he knows. I can taught him everything I know. I'm just saying it right now. I taught him everything I know, and then he went from there and he picked up a whole bunch from everybody else. And oh my Lord. I can't catch a break. I'm out on the boat with stand 3. I'm rocking the boat too much. I'm here. My wife is bitching at me over here. I just can't win. I can't win.
You know why, Stan? Because as we get old, we are no longer the savage of the group. Because trust me, my sons, I became some sort of like quasi, yeah, I understood he was like a savage a long time ago. Because all my friends they tell my sons I was like a savage a long time ago. But now I'm just not. So I went from superhero to like quasi superhero. What they don't get is that we are in a position which we cannot risk everything to just go do all the crazy savagery that we used to do. But then again, if someone dares me to, I just might.
The stand 3 says, y'all see what I'm dealing with?
Yeah. So stand 3, I would tell you this right now. Stand 3, respect your father, because at one point he was a savage just like you, and and if he had the choice, he would probably out savage you. Now I am lucky enough that I can occasionally out savage some of the young guys, but usually it's a bad choice. So we're smart and we just don't.
I don't know what to say about that. I don't know about that, Eric.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, Stan.
Oh, epic. I know what you were saying about Eric. I don't know what to say about that right there, but epic. Thank you.
Like yeah, well, we could be all domesticated and such, but what is the fun in that?
Joe Z, thank you. I can't thank you enough.
Love you, Joe Ziegler. Freddie, why are you just sitting there behind that green towel?
because back behind it's a mess from getting ready for
Say something,
CatCon. I ain't
brother.
straightened it
Say
up yet.
something. You know what? I should have given you one of those catfish cutout thing. Next year I will. Because that's what needs to be on your green towel right there, like a giant blue or whatever.
I agree.
Look
Tim,
at
if there's
Stan. He's sporting that big, grimacing, freaking 82-pound flathead right there.
hold on,
Actually, it's about 87, but you know,
There it is.
there it is with the carved fins and everything. Look at the eye; it's even glowing. That's good.
It's just Tim, when you gave it to us that night, you saw me, and when I brought it home, stand 3 was just as it really meant something, and so we thank you. We can't thank you enough for that.
Bring that home to your son because
Yep.
because literally out of the James, I don't know anybody like focusing on flatheads at all on the James because I mean, why would you? But if stand 3.
Tim, in your honor, I'm calling right now.
Well, actually, it is Diet Sunkissed. Believe that or not.
I'm calling right now in your honor, Tim. We are catching the Virginia state record flathead in the James River in your honor. I'm just saying.
Of course you are.
Well, of course, it's stand 3. By we, I mean stand 3 is catching the Virginia state record in your honor. We may not enter it, but we're catching it.
I already told you would be, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm no. Oh, geez.
And Tim and Freddie, thank you. We've got the we have our family here, and we've got that extended family out there, and obviously you're all a part of our family. And B. Smith even said right there, she haven't laughed so hard in a while. We've been going through some issues, and as people do out there in real life, and we come to YouTube to kind of escape this, and we come to YouTube to escape our real life issues and have some fun and talk about fishing and things like that. So I can't thank you enough for being.
YouTube is real life, and all
you're true. You're right, Tim. Stan 3 says that's going to be the Honda Blue and the 70-pound. I'm telling you, Freddie. I was like, what are you going to do when we catch all 3 of them?
All right. So Stan, as soon as Stan 3 catches a 100 point whatever flathead, have him call me. Because I will know he has arrived. But he can call me.
Well, Tim, thank you.
Whatever question he has, or even just to shoot the shit. Old Stan can call me anytime. It was very pleasurable talking to him at. I was actually hoping he was at this CatCon because he had very intelligent, very focused questions, and same thing I knew about you. Right, Freddie?
That's right.
Oh, I got the hiccups. This is horrible.
Well, Freddie, anything I say before we go?
No, just pleasure to be here, Stan. Having fun hanging out with you guys. I love it. Thanks, Tim.
Yes. So when the Freddie rod does one of these, I'm not worried about it. But when the Freddie rod does this,
hold on.
Yeah, that's what's important. Not this stuff you see on everybody's. Oh, it's a takedown. Blah, 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 blah. No, it's that.
That one.
Boom.
Oh,
That,
there you go.
that one. That's the one worth watching.
Spin 3 is like, yeah, the 100-pound blue cat, no problem. The 70-pound flathead, no problem. He's trying to figure out how to catch a 35-pound flathead.
Channel cat. Not flathead, channel cat.
What?
Channel cat. He meant channel cat.
Okay, so this flies in the face of general consensus. Not worried about a 70-pound flathead, not worried about a 100-pound blue, but worried about a what?
35-pound flathead.
Not flathead, channel cat, Stan. Channel cat.
Or I'm sorry, channel cat. Thank you.
There's only 2 to 3 spots in the country you can go for that, and it ain't the James.
Yeah, the James ain't one of them. That's for sure.
No. Well, at one time it was. So, any guesses when that was?
60s.
Actually, 40-pound channel cats were available on the games before the Blues were there, about 10 years before that. Same thing with Santee Cooper, same thing with a lot of places that had giant channel cats. But channel cats do not choose to fight. They choose to become more numerous and spread out.
Of course, beverages.
So, Freddie, where's your home? Jeez, where's your home zone?
South Carolina. I'm in the upstate of
You're
South
upstate
Carolina.
South Carolina. So, what is your home river or lake?
Our big lakes are Murray, which is the biggest one of the bigger ones in the state, and then now it's an hour and a half to go to Watery or Wiley, which are known for big flatheads and blues.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And so my guess is that those are high mountain states.
Yep. They're at the North Carolina border, most of them.
Which, for giants, it's not bad.
And JG, that's
60s,
awesome.
70s, and 80s is not unheard of in those high mountain lakes.
Now, don't get me wrong. I'm only 5.5 hours from Kerr Lake and Lake Gaston, so you know.
Right.
But
do remember one thing. A 90 on Kerr or Gaston is not as impressive as a 70 where you live.
Yep.
But Freddie, where did Nina catch her PB?
It was on the James.
Oh, and I think she caught it right off of a Freddie Point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, right off of Freddie Point.
We're calling that Nina Cove from now on, I think, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, that's just below Freddie Point, wasn't it? It's not too often you can go somewhere, Tim, and you get an area name for you on a river.
Yeah. I still don't have any areas named.
Well, we were truly honored last year that Nina and Freddie came up here. Nina said, Freddie, where do you want to go to fish? And he came up here. He decided to fish with us on the James River. And, one of my lifetime best points and best whatever. I don't care what fish I catch. I'm always worried about, and everybody else. And Freddie and Nina at the same time, at that point, had both caught their PB, like boom, boom, at the same time. And that, to me, was just like one of my highlights of the past, I don't know how many decades. That was awesome.
Yep. Her 46 and my 22 came right there together.
That was just, you couldn't have asked for a better thing.
Now I'm at 52.5, thanks to Lake Gaston and Freddie Creek that runs right in Gaston across from the dock, you know.
You got to come up here again, Freddie. We got to beat that. I'm not happy with that. But with that being said, It's almost 11:30. Jody is still live. I did not intend on staying this live this long. Ooh, I did not intend staying live this long tonight. But
Did you not
thank
know?
you, thank
Did
you, thank you,
not
thank you,
know?
everybody out there.
Did you not know?
Tim,
Of course you did.
my intention tonight was to have you come up and kind of go over your
right.
presentation, your seminar from the conference
That nobody ever saw because there was like 35.
Well, no,
people in
no. There was
'cause
several. There was people that saw it. I was live. There was people
but
that saw it
was
and heard
the
it.
end of the show, and everybody was tired and blah blah blah. So anyway, next time we'll do that.
But we'll have you come up again, and obviously, Tim, thank you for all the years, all the time, all the hours that you've spent with me. I truly appreciate it.
Stan, whenever you ask me up here, I'll be here because it's I don't know what you want to call it.
Hold on one second.
From day one, it was brothers, and since then, it's become friends.
Tim, I can't thank enough, and if Kelly just came in, and all the people down in Kentucky, just send your prayers down to them in that whole area down there. Kelly says just jumping in to say hello, going to bed. Still no power since 5:30. There's been tornadoes and.
You ever been down to Kentucky? Stan.
So big prayers to them down there. Wow, 500,000 people in Kentucky without power.
Yeah, but the Kentucky people, Stan, it's not that unusual. Kentucky people are pretty resilient.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, with that being said, we're going to jump out of here. Thank you, everyone, for being such an amazing night. Wow, Ernie's even out of power. So, big prayers to everybody up there. Prayers sent. Thank you, Solo. With that being said, we're jumping out of here. Thank you. Jody's still alive. Check out Pontoon Jody. And we are jumping out of here. Deuces, everybody.
All right, Stan.
Night, y'all.
Good to see you, Freddie.